Greetings, brothers and sisters. Today we honor the most honourable Marcus Garvey. It's very important that people acknowledge who this guy was, the greatest gift to our race. Marcus Messiah Garvey is like none other. And a lot of people always say they don't have the knowledge on Garvey, it's not being taught to people. So today, I'm going to share with you a presentation I did some time ago on Garvey and Garveyism. I hope you guys enjoy, and afterwards we will get into some more information for your transformation, for your inspiration. The Marcus Garvey Studies, presented by Brother Minister. Greetings, my African family. It's a very special day today, for more than one reason. But today, my family, I'm going to be presenting to you the story of Marcus Garvey. Now, I'm going to try my best to fit in as much information as possible within the time given to me today to present this. So people, maybe get a pen, get a drink. I don't want to promote smoking, but build it up and get your mind focused into listening to some key facts about the honorary Marcus Messiah Garvey. Many people have spoken about Marcus Garvey. Everybody knows that Marcus Garvey is, one of my greatest examples. So, a lot of people have been asking, Brother Minister, when you're gonna bring out this series? I always like when you talk about Marcus Garvey. So this is the Marcus Garvey Studies. This is the first of 7 episodes that will be dropping, weekly or fortnightly for the people to really study and understand why we say Marcus Garvey. So I think, it's only right that we start this by the words of Marcus Garvey himself. I think that's fair. The people would probably agree. So I ain't gonna play too much of it, but I'm gonna play maybe 2-3 minutes of it so people get the gist of the type of spirit that we're dealing with here. So here we go, my people.
When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black and the green around me, for in the new life I shall rise up with God's strength and blessing to lead the millions of the heights and the triumph that you well know. Look for me in a world when there is storm. Look for me all around you, for with God's grace I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Our great scholars have advanced through the colleges and universities, have thrown away the blessed record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You race of cowards. You race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have better die. Can we do it? We can do it. We shall do it. We pray to God for vision and for leadership. And He has given us our universal vision. A vision that will not limit our possibilities to America. A vision that will not limit our possibilities to the West Indies, but a vision that said it must be a free and redeemed Africa. Christ the crucified, Christ the despised. We appeal to you for help, for succor, for leadership. When you endeavor to carry your burden of the heights of Calvary, when white men scorned you, when white men scorned you, when white men spat upon you, when white men pierced your side out of which blood and water gush forth, it was a black man in the name of Simon the Syrian who took your cross and bore it up the heights of Calvary. And now that we are bearing our burden of being so heavy, we just ask that you just help us all of that. Oh yes, the cause is grand, the cause is glory. Surely we shall not turn back. Oh, sail on, sail on, sail on, almighty ship of state, sail on until the flag of the red, the black, and the green is perched upon the hills of their Africa. Because the time has come for the black man to forget his hero worship of other races and to create and emulate heroes of his own. We must canonize our own saints, create our own martyrs, and elevate the positions of fame and honor black men and women who have made a distinct contribution to our racial history. Sojourner Truth is worthy of a place of sainthood alongside the Joan of Arc. Crispus Attucks and George William Gordon are entitled to the halo of martyrdom with no less glory than the martyrs of any other race. Toussaint Louverture's brilliancy as a soldier or a statesman outshone that of any other people, hence he's entitled to the highest place as a hero among men. Because Africa created millions and countless millions of black men and women in war and peace, whose luster and bravery outshone that of any other people. So why not see good and perfection in ourselves? We must inspire our literature and promulgate the doctrine of our own without any apologies to the powers that be. That right is ours and God.
Yeah, man. Hear the words of the man himself. You know what I mean? So you people can get to, get the gifts, get the spirit of the man. You hear, Marcus Garvey blazing. You understand? And every time I hear the man's voice and I read the man's words, it gives a strength to me, man. You know what I mean? Marcus Garvey's words is a strength to all of us. So all right, without further ado, let's move forward on with the presentation now. So for those that don't know, Marcus Garvey was born in St. Anne's Bay, Jamaica on the 17th of August, 1887. And that is the house that Marcus Garvey grew up in. As you can see, they have a plaque. They used to have like a statue of his face there as well, but I don't know what happened to that on top of that that plaque. But yeah, that's the house Marcus Garvey grew up in. Man. So all right, let's move on, my people. So Marcus Garvey grew up in the countryside of Jamaica, beautiful parish, St. Anne's. So now let's deal with Marcus Garvey's family life. Not a lot here has really been, spoken about regarding Marcus Garvey's early years. Do you know what I mean? Like his family and things of that nature. But what we do know is that his father was a serious man. You know what I mean? He was a descendant of the Maroons. He was a stone builder by trade. He wanted Marcus Garvey to address him as Mr. Garvey. You understand what I'm saying? It's been said that he had a separate place on his land where he set up a library and he spent lots of time in there reading and to himself. You know what I mean? They said that Marcus Garvey's father was frustrated. His father would have been born a slave. And these things, one of the things that stands out with the relationship with Garvey and his father is this story of when Garvey was left in a shallow grave for hours. Marcus Garvey, his father, used to dig graves up and things like that. You get me? But he left Garvey in there to teach him a lesson. The lesson was that you shouldn't be scared. And you can depend on nobody but yourself. You know what I mean? So this is the kind of man that, Garvey, grew up looking up to his father, serious, serious, serious man. And, if you're from the Caribbean listening to this and you think of, your granddad or, granddad's friends and, that kind of era people, there is, a few people that I know, that fit the description of Marcus Garvey's father, in the sense that, he sticks to themselves, don't really like people, don't have a lot of trust for people. Do you know what I mean? Um, yeah, but on the other hand, Marcus Garvey's mother, Garvey describes his mother as sober, conscious Christian. He goes on to say she's too soft and good for the time in which she lived. Garvey loved his mother very much. She had great hopes for Garvey. He said that Garvey's mother was very kind and loving. In terms of work-wise, she used to raise crops, and she also cooked for like a white family, which many people did at that time. And I mean, growing up, she saw something special in Garvey. She believed that Garvey was going to grow up to do great things. And, bearing in mind that she had 11 children, all of them, sadly passed away in childhood, except for Marcus Garvey and his sister, Indiana. So, Marcus Garvey grew up in an environment where he's got, a very strict militant, somewhat to say, father, but then he's got, very soft, kind, loving mother. So he's got a balance, you could say the yin and the yang, if you wish. But yeah, as I was saying, not much is spoken really on Garvey's early life. Um, they always talk about the story where Marcus Garvey grew up with this white girl, and when he reached certain age, the white girl was told she can't speak to Garvey again, and I think that the white girl's family shipped off the white girl off to somewhere else, back to Europe somewhere. But yeah, Marcus Garvey, as a kid, he used to envision himself, speaking in front of large crowds and stuff like that. You get me? It's said that Garvey knew every word in the dictionary, and he used to, make his friends test him on words if he knew the meaning and things like that. He had a passion for reading. He probably got it from his father, because his father was, like I said, had the library. Garvey had the the luxury of reading books in the library from a young age. Garvey developed that love for reading. Um, but yeah, so Garvey leaves school at 14, but even before he leaves school, he used to work with his uncle, not his uncle, sorry, his godfather, Mr. Bowles, who was a printer, and he started learning the printing trade. At that time in 1903, Garvey's mother, suffered great financial hardship because of the hurricane that, destroyed all of her crops. So right about that time, Garvey now reaches 16, and he moves to Kingston. He moves to Kingston to go and stay with his uncle. While in Kingston, he gets a very good job at that time. He gets a job for this big printing company, P.A. Benjamin, and he works there hard, until he reaches, the stage of, or the job of foreman. He's only 18 years old now, and he's a foreman. Not only is he the youngest foreman, but he's breaking barriers, because they import foremen from Canada to Jamaica, etc. But you know, Garvey worked his way up to these positions. You know, but you know, at the same time, you know, Garvey starts to be looking at the conditions of the people and saying, well, like certain, you know, mistreatments and stuff, you know, Garvey was seeing, you know. But so he forms the Printers Union, and he also releases his first newspaper. And throughout Garvey's life, you'll find Garvey, you know, constantly releasing or publishing newspapers. So the first newspaper that Garvey publishes at this time was called the Garvey Watchman. You know, like I said, he's in Kingston now. Kingston is a place where it's bubbling with, you know, different kind of philosophies and things like that. He ends up becoming an assistant secretary to the Pioneer Political Party. You know what I mean? The party was called the National Club, and that's where he meets, you know, or you know, he grows this great admiration for a person named Robert Love. Robert Love now, for those that don't know, let's stick up in there. Before I get on to Robert Love, yeah, let me just add in some other historical facts so we can move on past that. So while Garvey's in Kingston, I'm not sure, for those that are from Jamaica that know Victoria Pier. Yeah, Garvey used to be at the Victoria Pier debating, you know, his friends every Saturday night. It's got to the stage now where I think there was a group of people in Jamaica that was petitioning to change the name from Victoria Pier and call it the Marcus Garvey Pier, because of the history that Marcus Garvey at that young age had with that location. In regards of his work, you know, like I said, he formed the Printers Union, which is one of the first you know, unions in the British West Indies. So even now, Garvey is revolutionary in what he's doing. You know, he sends for his mother also um, to come in, to stay in Kingston once he had set up himself. But you know, his mother was a woman from the countryside, and you know, country life is different from city life. And you know, it said that she never really liked the city life, and she passed away shortly after. I think it was like 2 years after she passed, she actually passed away. But Garvey ends up, you know, setting up this printers union, and ends up siding with with the workers, and because of this, he ends up losing his job um, at the printery. But you know, it wasn't really a problem for Garvey at that time because he soon got another job with the government's printery. But now let's move on to Robert Love. Um, Robert Love, yeah, he wasn't from Jamaica. He was born in the Bahamas. Um, Let me just move the slide. Yeah, he was born in the Bahamas on the 2nd of October, 1839. Marcus Garvey says much of my early education in race consciousness is from Dr. Love. He goes on to say in the Gleaner 1934 that, you know, the great Jamaican legislator and patriot, Mr. Robert Love, you know, who your great inspiration. You know, Robert Love though was from the Bahamas. He went to America and studied in Buffalo for a while. He fell in love with Toussaint. You know, he fell in love with like the Haitian Revolution and things like that. You get me? This was the first man kind of like that will come out and be telling black man, don't be looking at white people like you're some superior, like they're superior to us. Like don't have no inferior complex when you're dealing with these people. We're just as good as any other people. You know, he sets up a famous newspaper called the Jamaican Advocate. You know, it was very influential at the time. if even when you're looking at certain concepts of, you know, women having the right to education and things like this, you know, he believed that, you know, everybody should be educated, the black man and the black woman. You know, he broke down social ideas and definitions. You get me? You know, Robert Love was a legend in his own rights, and it's surprising that, you know, people don't really hear about Robert Love today. You know, he also was involved in politics as well in Jamaica. He sat I think he sat on um I think he was St Andrews. He was a part in something, but he got a seat in Parliament or whatever. He was a serious man in Jamaica, man. You know, like I said to you, and he had that philosophy that black man can do anything that any other people could do. You know, and for that, Garvey, you know, was inspired, and rightly so. So I wanna, you know, big up big up Robert Love, you know, the spirit of Robert Love, and we move forward. You know, I would say to the people listening to this now that they should go and research Robert Love. You know what I mean? Because a lot of us revolutionary people, we don't get to hear about. You know, because different reasons even why we don't get to hear about them. But you know, the ones that become aware of certain people in our history should, you know, make it their duty to inform others about such people. That's why I'm even doing this Marcus Garvey um, presentation now, because it's needed. And I know certain things about Garvey's, and I'm saying, you know what, I'm going to pass it on. Because it's not worth me, one, having the knowledge to myself. It doesn't make no sense. So, so for a while, Garvey's there, you know, getting into a little bit of trouble here and there, fighting colonial ideas and stuff. You know, he decides to travel. So he leaves Jamaica to go and stay with another one of his uncles in Costa Rica. He gets a job while he's in Costa Rica as well, on a banana plantation. You know, he didn't really have that job for too long, you know, because the conditions in Costa Rica at that time here was so harsh. Like Costa Rica was, you know, you had robbers robbing, you know, the people coming in. You know, people would put their money into banks and the banks would disappear. You know, they run out of business. So there was really a lot going on in Costa Rica that forced Garvey to kind of, you know, organize himself. And when he looked around in Costa Rica, he didn't see any organization, anything champion or defending the people. You know, and as you can see, there's a kind of theme going on along here where Garvey was defending the workers, you know, the poor people. You know, so he didn't keep his job on the plantation for too long. He then gets a job at the Caribbean seaport, and that's where most Caribbean, you know, at the docks where most Caribbean people was, you know, at that time. While Garvey is in Costa Rica, he starts up another newspaper called the La Nation. You know, as a way to inform people and get people organized. You know what I mean? That this is the way to, you know, tell people of what's going on and where we can meet up and the new things that's going on in town. You know, soon Garvey had become, you know, a problem in Costa Rica. And you know, the British authorities began to look at him with suspicion now, and they started to say, "Wow, this guy Marcus Garvey is a bit of a troublemaker." You know? People are saying that while he was in Costa Rica, he was jailed and he was deported. I'm not 100% sure on if he was deported. I'm not sure. According to Tony Martins anyway, what has been proven that Garvey was arrested for urging the workers to fight for better conditions. You know, so he was trying to motivate them to say, yo, fight, man. Do you get what I'm saying? So he was and then Tony Martin goes on to say he was either expelled or he left the country to escape the authorities of Costa Rica. You know, one thing for sure is that the authorities was happy to see him go. You know what I mean? So while this time Garvey travels, you know, around the West Indies, you know, traveling through Central and South America. You know, he's gone to Panama, Chile, Peru, just to name a few. While he's in Panama, he also publishes another newspaper. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said to you, Garvey is is for newspapers, and you can see that theme throughout his career as well. Garvey's always writing, and if you know, newspapers, I guess, would be like, you know, the internet today. Do you get what I'm saying? In terms of the way people use it, that was the means back then when people didn't have maybe TVs in their houses and things like that. You know, people would get a newspaper and they would read it to get the latest news around the world. You know what I mean? But when Garvey was traveling through like the Latin Americas, you know, it's been said that, you know, was a huge you know, eyes opener for him, or eye opener for him. You know what I mean? Because the conditions, yeah, that they were living in just to make a living. Like Garvey couldn't believe it. You know, he returns back to Jamaica after this, you know, and it's said, yeah, by his wife that he was sickened with fever, you know, and he was also sick at the heart over, you know, the conditions of our people, man, you know, and how he wanted to help. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like just by seeing that. But anyway, Garvey at that point makes another travel. You know, in 1912, you know, Garvey travels to see his sister. At this time, his sister's left Jamaica and she's living in England. She was looking after some white family's children. But while Garvey is in England, he gets a job at the docks. But he gets to travel a lot. So, you know, he's in London, he's in Cardiff. You know, it's said that he attends Birkbeck College in London, and you know, he has his fair strews or strolls through Speaker's Corner at that time, and he said he was just fascinated over Speaker's Corner. While in London, though, however, Garvey didn't publish any paper, but his writings appeared in various publications. Um, he also, what a lot of people don't know or haven't shared, is that Garvey traveled to Italy, France, Spain, Austria, Hungary, Germany. Where else did he travel? I think that was it. But he traveled. Oh yeah, the British Isles. But while he's in London, he's also traveled in Europe. But in 1913, you know, Garvey he's blocking it. You know, he's spent out all of his money. Um, but however, he was lucky to get a job now. So this is where people mention that he meets Noble Drew Ali. I'm sorry, my apologies. Not Noble Drew Ali. Deuce Muhammad. Deuce Muhammad, for those that don't know, was a writer. He was in Nigeria for some time as well. He had a newspaper at the time, which was a huge popular newspaper called the African Times and Oriental Review. Garvey got a job there. You can actually find an article written by Garvey called "The British West Indies in the Mirror of Civilization." So if anybody wants to see any of those early writings. That's the title of it. I've seen that one, so I know that you can definitely find that one online. Okay, so now here we have Garvey returning back, due to financial struggles. He leaves Southampton and then takes the ship home back to Jamaica. And while he's taking, or returning back to Jamaica, he reads Booker T. Washington's book, Coming Up from Slavery. And at that point, it doomed on him that he can't just escape this situation that we're in. He can't just not do nothing. Like where he's gone around South America, Europe, or whatever, and seeing black people's conditions, he's saying that he can't not do nothing. He has to do something, And he said, he asked this question: where is the black man's government? Where is his kings and his kingdoms? Where's his presidents, his country, his ambassadors, his army, his navy, his men of big affairs? I could not find them. And then I declared, I will help make them. So at that point, that's when Garvey, decided now that he's going to work for the upliftment of the race. A lot of people think that that meant that Garvey read that book and decided to do that. No, it was when he was reading that book and he was reading what Booker T. Washington was doing and things like that. He was saying, you know what, sure, I'm going to have to do something, after reading that book. And he gave credit to Booker T. Washington for that. And he wanted to create a Tuskegee institution, which is what Booker T. Washington had in America. But at that moment, anyway, when Garvey returns back to Jamaica, the UNIA is born, the Universal Negro Improvement Association. At the time, it was the Universal Negro Improvement and Conservation Association and African Community League, but those things were dropped. It was left the UNIA. He also meets his first wife, Amy Ashwood, shortly after arriving back to Jamaica. A lot of people think that she was instrumental in building the organization, which I have to give my fair dues and say she was. However, Garvey had already created the organization a month or two before he even met Amy. But the very first meeting, or we could say members meeting, that he held was held in Amy's mother's house. So we can't deny that she was a part of it. But Garvey meets Amy Ashwood at a debate in Kingston. She was blazing, very well spoken woman. Garvey, was impressed with her. You know what I mean? Her debating skills. I'm actually doing one of the other series. A part of the Marcus Garvey studies will be about Amy Ashwood versus Marcus Garvey. So that's a whole nother story. Be sure to tune in for that one, because that's going to be an interesting one, because a lot of people are not speaking about that element. Maybe they think it will maybe do more bad than good. I don't know, but I'm gonna be speaking about it still. So tune into that episode of the series. That episode of the series is gonna be mad. So when the UNIA was created, these were the aims and objectives. So there was two of them. There was one for the local and there was one in general. But as you can see, it was mainly to establish education and industry, day or evening training college, which is what I was saying about the Booker T. Washington, and things like that. You get me? But if you look there, the date here is October So that's probably why people are saying that Amy Ashwood was a part of it, because when he decided to put this out at the date, I think he met her in August. But anyway, where are we now? Garvey. Yeah, so sorry, I'm gonna have to go back a second, because I did kind of leave it there, but if you look at the aims and objectives, yeah, it's he wanted to create some love amongst the race in it. So he wanted to promote spirit of racial pride and love. It goes on to say to reclaim the fallen of the race. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, Garvey wanted to help our people, man, and you can see that from the aims and objectives. And if you look at the last thing with the motto, one God, one aim, and one destiny. You understand? And that motto was carried right across from 1914, when this was written, till he passed away. And I still be, the UNIA up to today still carry that motto of one God, one aim, and one destiny. So all right, now, so we've covered the early stages. So what we have now is a young, fiery Marcus Garvey that wants to build his organization. He initially Lee's wanted to go meet Booker T. Washington. So early 1916, Garvey leaves to go to America. He intends to go, on a speaking tour, trying to raise money for his organization. He traveled America for months, up and down the country. Speaking to people, and all of those things. The actual date when it says that Garvey arrived in New York City was March the 23rd, 1916. It says that Garvey moved in with a Jamaican family in Harlem and got a job as a printer. He didn't have that job too long. By May, Garvey had his first speaking engagement at St. Mark's Roman Catholic Church. This is the famous speech where Garvey fell off the platform while he was speaking. But he traveled to like 38 states within that year of being in America. I think round about, so we were in 1916. So we, round about 1918, yeah, at the end of 1917, 1918, I think Garvey realized now that, I'm gonna have to build the UNIA in America now. After he's traveled around and seen the conditions of Black people in America, and then what you also have is the leaders that Black people had at that time in America, weren't doing nothing for us. Kind of similar to now, to be honest with you. And that didn't really sit well with Garvey. There's a time when he says that he goes to the NAACP office in New York, and when he goes in there, he can't see a Black man in there. I'll be a white people in there. You know what I mean? But yeah, so when Garvey starts to organize in America, slowly but surely, yeah, like Garveyism, or the doctrine is taken off. So by the end of 1918 to 1922 now, after you've had the first convention, Garveyism is like a huge factor in America. And when people say, "Oh, but what is Garveyism?" Well, Tony Martins and others have explained Garveyism simply in three things, or three major elements, which would be like, number one, raise first. Number two, self-reliance. Number 3, nationhood. Now, race first is basically, striving for the best for your race, to put your race first in everything that you do. Support your own businesses, support black professionals, black writers, black athletes, anybody black that's doing something from that, they're putting their race first. So, we support our people, in it. We don't mash down our people, man. We've got a common connection with our people. So when they're doing something, we support them to the fullness. Garvey, race first, would also be seeing beauty in your own kind. Not bleaching your skin, not trying to look like others, having our own standard of beauty. Garvey objected against black people marrying white people. He said that people that do that are dissatisfied with their own race in it, so they're gone outside. And he wasn't going with that. So throughout Garvey's history or organization, there has never been, to my knowledge, a person that had a position in the UNIA and had a woman, or had a man outside of the race. That was an illegal thing for you to do. I think you will probably be expelled from the organization, or you will be at least, removed from your position if you got caught marrying outside of your race. Race first could also include history. Garvey explains that history is written with prejudice. And he goes on to say that there's never been no white historian that's ever wrote anything true, or written anything with any love for us as a race of people. Do you know what I mean? So that will be one element. Also, history, religion as well. Seeing God through your own eyes. Garvey said that every nation or every human being sees God through their own spectacles. The white people see God through their own white spectacles. You get me? And we, should too, start to see God through our own. And Garvey was instrumental in doing so. So much so that in 1921, the UNIA founded the African Orthodox Church. So when people like to say, "Oh no, Garvey was a Catholic," or "Garvey was a Muslim," or whatever the case may be, the facts of the matter is, when it came down to organization, Garvey set up his own religion, which was the African Orthodox Church. Garvey does not fit into Catholic. Garvey didn't see God white. Garvey, throughout his career, is telling you to see God through your own eyes. See God through your own experience, and it stopped trying to put white people as God, Chinese people as God. It's like, even today, this is why I say Garveyism is still important, because even today we still struggle with that, with being raised first. You know what I mean? All right, but let's move on anyway. The second would be self-reliance. Self-reliance is kind of, self-explained, but Garvey says, yeah, we must have justice, we must be strong, and if we are to be strong, we must come together, and if we must come together, we must have organizations. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the UNIA branches all over the world must be self-reliant in any which way they can, or they could. And Garvey set up things like the Negroes Factory Corporation, the newspaper, the Negro World, the Black Star Line steamship, so much different companies and businesses, and meeting the needs of the people that Garvey set up for us. Yeah, and thirdly would be nationhood. Garvey felt that we would never get any respect anywhere until Africa is liberated. You know what I mean? It's fundamental for Africa to be liberated if we are going to be strong wherever we are in the world. So so that's that's the main three, principles you could say of Garveyism. But Garveyism was spreading like a wildfire, as I've said. Tony Martin's writes in the revolutionary upheavals in Trinidad in 1919. Yeah, he's writing about the revolutionary upheavals in Trinidad in 1919. The Journey of the Negro History, page 58. He says that the Negro world was already reaching places as far as Panama, and throughout the 1919s, Garveyites was blamed by colonial authorities for anti-white riots in Jamaica, Trinidad, and the British Honduras, among other places. So, that spirit, that Garvey spirit, was spreading amongst the Caribbean, was spreading amongst the Americas. The people was rebelling in their mind. They were giving back to Caesar what is for Caesar, and they was taking on the responsibilities as a man and trying to do for self. And one of the major things that Garvey did for the young was teach young children to love themselves, which is very important. And here you see a picture of a young sister holding one of the Garvey UNIA dollies that they created for the children. And there was a documentary maybe about 10 years ago where it was talking about, or where they showed young black children, two dollies, a black one and a white one, and they asked them, which one do you think is beautiful? And they all picked the white one. And they asked them, what's wrong with the black one? They said the black one is ugly. Garvey was trying to challenge this in 1919, 1916s. Yeah, we're in 2020. And right now, yeah, we still face the same problems. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. Garveyism is needed now more than ever. Garvey was creating a storm in America at this time. The NAACP, I'm doing a whole lecture on Garvey and his enemies, or the enemies of the race, yeah. And you will see how all of these people came together to destroy Garvey. They had the Garvey Must Go campaign. We had Du Bois dissing Garvey, calling him an ugly black person, and he's definitely got strong features, and drawing in their newspapers mimicking Garvey any which way that they can. And Garvey, ends up making enemies with these people. That they're supposed to be on the same side as us if they're caring for the upliftment of the race. But Garvey's come into an area or an environment where the light-skinned people of America are part of the ruling class for the black people. And Garvey's come in and, he's shut that down. There's a time where he's gone to this famous church at that time. And the way how they set up the church is all the light-skinned people at the front, and, it gets darker as you go to the back. Now, Garvey's walked in there, walked right up to the front and sat down. It's been written that the pastor or whatever got so annoyed that he almost wanted to fight Garvey for what Garvey did. You had societies like the Blue Blood Society. I think there was a society with the West Indian version. I think it was called the Colonial Club. Colonial something, anyway, if it's not called the Colonial Club, where it was just light-skinned people, you know what I mean, that come together and organize amongst themselves. And what they basically wanted was to rule the darker skinned people in the race. You understand? On behalf of, like, the white man deal with them and they deal with the darker skinned people. And, Garvey weren't going for that. Garvey exposed colorism in America, like, to the point that people don't like him for it, till they accused him of not liking light skinned people. And Garvey states that, what has happened before, nobody had no control over that. So, so for a person being mixed race or whatever, they didn't have no control over that. Garvey just said we shouldn't continue that. Garvey took mixed race people in the UNIA if they worked for the upliftment of the race. He didn't treat them any different. What Garvey didn't like though was that mentality that I'm light skinned, I'm better because I'm closer to white. Garvey didn't like that. So he created many enemies in America, including the biggest movement at that time of black people that was run by Jewish people called the NAACP. And they was relentless in their attack on Garvey. If Garvey didn't get arrested, they would have killed Garvey somehow. So, okay, now, Marcus Garvey is shot. A lot of people don't know that Marcus Garvey was shot 4 times. He was shot in the right leg, the right side of his scalp. Do you get what I'm saying? With a 38 caliber revolver. But so the backdrop to this is, there's this this member of the authorities called Kilroy, right? And Kilroy's got it in for Garvey. Kilroy doesn't like Garvey wanting to open up the Black Star Line. He doesn't think that that's something that black people should be doing. So he wants to stop Garvey in it. So basically, he summons Garvey, about 17 times to bother him and harass him about this Garvey movement, because he's suspicious about Garvey's movements. Garvey was already an important figure in Harlem at this time. So Garvey anyway ends up just getting frustrated, at my man's consistency to just piss man off. You know what I mean? Just keep bothering him, man. So Garvey writes about him in the newspaper, and then Garvey ends up getting arrested for what he says. He ends up taking back what he says, and they let him go. So by October or September, the Black Star Line, was in effect in it. So by September, it's done in it. It's been made. So next month, October, a man by the name of Tyler comes to the office, and says, Kilroy sent me in it. And as soon as he's seen Garvey, he starts shooting at him like a madman. Garvey said that he was hit, he was struck, and he dropped. He fired 4 shots. Garvey was then taken to Harlem Hospital. The guy Tyler was arrested the next day. Him thinking that Garvey had died, thinking the job's done. I think he must have become aware at some point, maybe. If not, I don't know. But he ends up killing himself, allegedly. He commits suicide in jail before he can be taken to the court. I don't know why he committed suicide. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It doesn't really make no sense to me why he committed suicide, to be honest with you, unless he was going to snitch on who sent him, because he tells Garvey Kilroy sent him. So if he's going to start snitching in court and, it comes out that the police or the authorities have sent him to do this crime, it could be a problem. So maybe that's the reason why he commits suicide. But this is the official picture of the Black Star Line. I'm gonna be doing a episode on all Garvey's business enterprise for you people anyway. So I'm gonna move on because of time. This is a picture of the first convention. The convention, took place it opened up in Liberty Hall. It had 2,000 delegates from 22 countries around the world. It had a huge parade through Harlem, which featured, the the Black Star Line Band, the African Legion, the Black Cross Nurses, you know, delegates from all over America, Canada, the Caribbean, Central America, West Africa. You know, it had the UNIA Motor Corporation. They had so much going on, and then they had a mass meeting at Madison Square Garden that, you know, they estimate at least 25,000 people was in attendance. You know, one of the things that came out at that convention was the Bill of Rights, the red, black, and green flag. You know, the Bill of Rights is very important. You know, because the Bill of Rights is basically telling the people that we're organized in it, yeah, and you know, we're looking at the wickedness that you're doing to us, yeah, and we know it's not fair, and it's not just, and we're demanding justice in it. So you know, that was an important bill. Right, this is an image that I found online while I was researching Marcus Garvey. So if, as you can see, this street here, I think this is 135th Street, yeah? I'm not 100% sure. But as you can see, he's got two UNIA offices. He's got a grocery store. He's got a restaurant. The following street, he's got the, I think that was called the Booker T. Washington Hotel. He's got a printing company. He's got restaurants. This is just in Harlem alone. You know, in Harlem alone, he hired 1,000 people. It's been written that when people used to go for jobs, it got so bad that the white man said, "Why are you coming to me asking me for jobs? Garvey's got all of the jobs. Or ask Marcus Garvey." You know what I mean? So yeah, so you know, Garvey was on stuff, man. So this here now is the number of branches. So in the 1970s, they found the UNIA records, which included membership files and things like that. So altogether in America, Garvey had 725 UNIA branches. And if you look at the first three, they're all in the South. Where it's got the most number of chapters, like 74 chapters in one area. You know, the South have a rich history of Garvey's support. You know, because if you look at what they were facing wicked Jim Crow laws. You know, so what Garvey was saying, yeah, it resonated with them differently. So outside of the UNIA, you have the most branches in Cuba and Panama. So I mean, you know, you guys can pause it later on and you know can go into and look further. But moving swiftly on. So Garvey wasn't killed by the shooting. A couple days after the shooting, he speaks, and he tells the story of what happened, and he bigs up, you know, the helpers who helped him and things like that. Garvey ends up getting arrested, yeah, for Melford. You know, to me, the whole thing is a setup from the beginning. It don't make no sense. No evidence they brought to the table made any single sense to me. Even before the trial starts, Garvey petitioned for them to change the judge that they brought to the table. So the judge that they brought to the table. So I'm gonna mention this part of it, and then I'm gonna move on because of time in there. But before the trial starts, yeah, they bring in this NAACP members judge, and Garvey was like, "Hold on a second, man, this is some setup. Like, come on, man. Like, this man clearly can't be just in dealing with my case. He doesn't even deny that he's with the NAACP. He doesn't even deny it. But Garvey, you know, was denied, you know, the right to change a judge. You know what I mean? So you could probably see from that point, yeah, that it was all a setup. So they got their judges in the place. You know, what you got to understand, yeah, like the Garvey Must Go campaign, yeah, that took place about maybe 5 months before Garvey was arrested. But majority of the people or the signatures came from NAACP members. They, you know, the voice is gone out into the public and said that Garvey is the greatest enemy to the black race. So they want this guy gone, yeah. Period. The it wasn't FBI, it was they were called the Bureau of Investigation at the time. They want the man gone, yeah. So you got black people want the man gone, white people want the man gone, Jewish people want the man gone. Because this judge is even a Jew. So he should understand um you know, he's been said he's a Zionist as well, but you know, maybe he wasn't a Zionist at the time. I presume he was, but he should understand the stuff that Garvey wants for black people because he would want that for himself and his people. So anyway, the whole case was full of lies. Yeah, people are not even aware that there wasn't just Garvey on trial. Garvey had co-defendants, you know, which you know they was acquitted of all charges anyway. But the prosecutor, yeah, goes to the jury, yeah, and he goes, gentlemen, will you let the tiger loose? Clearly, you know, singling out Garvey from the co-defendants, and they're referring to Garvey as the tiger. Do you understand what I'm saying? Garvey is a major threat for these people. They do not like this man. Do you understand what I'm saying? And Garvey has to go to prison. So yeah, I was moving forward, but before I move forward, yeah, I want people to be aware what Garvey was actually convicted for. So there was 2 indictments, yeah, which contained 13 counts to defraud by means of sending mail, right? So Garvey was only convicted of one, yeah. And what the prosecutor did was present, yeah, empty envelope, yeah, bearing the Black Star Line stamp on it, with no letter inside, yeah. And the letter was addressed to a Benny Dancy of 34 West 131st Street, New York City. Now Dancy testifies, yeah, that the government agents came to his house and he handed over the envelope to them. The letter did not come from Garvey anyway. Yeah, it came from the organization, right? But that's neither here nor there. He even says he doesn't even remember what the letter is about, what was inside the letter. He don't even remember. But nevertheless, in it, by June the 21st, yeah, the case concluded and Garvey was sentenced to 5 years in prison and fined £2,000, and he was ordered to pay the entire cost of the trial. You know, during the trial, yeah, the judge was all trying to speed it up. You know what I'm saying? Because he wanted to go to a Jewish convention, and Garvey jumps up and shouts, "Wait, what? Jeopardize the liberty of Marcus Garvey? Like you want to rush this thing? Like slow down." And I will also mention that Garvey sacked his attorney the first day of the trial, which didn't help him much. You get what I'm saying? And he couldn't get a new one because the trial started, but he just didn't feel that that the guy had his best interests at heart. You know, Garvey was going up against against white supremacy, like the institution. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like it wasn't an easy fight for him, man. Do you know what I mean? So he sacks the attorney anyway. You know, because he believed that he was in cahoots with the prosecutor. You know, Garvey ends up, like I said, he gets sentenced to 5 years in prison. And this is Garvey's penitentiary picture and an ID number or prison number. So during this time as well, yeah, Garvey, you know, got a £15,000 bail. That's how much the bail was, right? So he could when Amy Garvey, you know, raises the money, she had to raise it cash, but she couldn't even find anybody to to um to be the bonding company. Never in the end, yeah, it was denied, but they took the money, right? And it took them long months before they gave back they gave back the money to Garvey. You know what I mean? There's two incidents happened in jail. One of the time, the screws came over to Garvey and told him not to talk to somebody, and Garvey switched to them and said, "Listen, I can't tell me who I can talk to," you know. And another time, he was sanctioned because he was eating steak, and steak wasn't permitted to eat. Prisoners was on rations; they could only eat certain amount of things a certain day or whatever. And Garvey, you know, was caught eating steak. Yeah, in the end, Garvey is deported. Um, yeah, that's all I can say, man. You know, they deported the king, man. But there's a lot of story around that as well, around the deportation. But that's Garvey in an hour. You know what I mean? I tried to keep it within an hour. That's Marcus Garvey within an hour. And there's a quote that I put on here, yeah, and it said Garvey did many acts of kindness to relatives of his enemies. When asked how he forgot the past so easily, he said, "I have to forget my injuries. If I keep them fresh in my mind, the added ones would be harder to bear." Do you know what I mean? Marcus Garvey, you know, bared tribulation after tribulation, and a lot of these tribulations come from black people. Isn't, you know, we expect the white people to do what the white people do, but these things is coming from black people as well. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so you know, I hope that people got, you know, a rough info, a brief introduction to Marcus Garvey and who he was, and you know, key factors or key parts of his life. So when I'm wrapping up now, yeah, I wanted to address some things, yeah. So these are the rumors and the speculations surrounding Garvey. So a lot of people come to me and they say Garvey's uniform, right? Garvey dressed like a mason. Rare, 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 rare. And I'm saying the picture that they normally show, I can see resemblance though, right? Because I don't want to sound like um, I'm being ignorant. But from what I've been told by the history books and, you know, writings of Garvey himself, Garvey based his clothes off a true saint. And if you can see the clothing here, yeah, you can see the hat with the white feathers. Clearly, Garvey's wearing the hat with the feathers. If you look at the sword in Garvey's hands, how it's shaped, it's the same shape as the as to say. You can see the things on the shoulders. It's the same. You know, people are gonna say whatever they want to say in it, but for the people that want to know the truth, that is why Garvey dressed the way how he dressed, and because he, you know, because of the winning the Haitian Revolution, it inspired Garvey, and it inspired a lot of black people around the world as well. So yeah, we talked about the uniform, and another thing that people say, oh, but Garvey was wearing this badge, this Masonic badge, and I'm saying, what Masonic badge? This is the African Cross of Redemption. This cross here was made for members, people that donated to the UNIA. They would get a medal. Um, I don't know why people always want to expect the worst. Do you know what I mean? But that's the fact. It's nothing spooky. If you want to take it spooky, then you can do the spookiness. But there's is the cross of African redemption. So basically, as I was saying, it was for members. So members of the race who give, you know, $50 to $100 will receive the bronze version. You know, members that give 100 to 500 will receive the silvers, and whoever, you know, give money donations, whether it's through the Black Star Line or whether it's those that get loans from the bank what Garvey was trying to open up. This is how it would work. If you 5 to 1,000, they would receive the gold. You know, the African cross of redemption, Garvey says, will be to the Negro what the Victorian cross of England has been to the Englishman, and the Iron Cross of Germany has been to the Germans. So it was more like a pride element that Garvey was trying to give to the people. You know what I mean? And I like it as well, man. And people used to put it on their uniform and things of that nature. Beautiful. So a lot of the time, yeah, people come to me and ask me about Elijah Muhammad. Was Elijah Muhammad a member of the UNIA? Now, Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, although Elijah Muhammad speaks very, very highly of Marcus Garvey, I have never read Elijah Muhammad say he was an actual member in the Nation of Islam. However, Charles Zamti, who was a famous Garveyite in Detroit, says that, my man was a member. On page 1099, on page 199, I don't even know why it says 1999. On page 199, life for us is what we make it. Building black communities in Detroit. It's quoted Zamti saying, I have to give credit to Elijah Poole of the Nation of Islam. He is a good member of the UNIA and worked for us for many years. And when he came in contact with Farad, Poole left Detroit, and after leaving the Detroit division, he went to Chicago and was a captain of the legions there. He saw the opportunity of organizing under the name of Black Muslim. Elijah Poole was wise enough in arousing the black people here in certain areas to recognize that they must do something. So here we have Zamti saying that he was a member until he met Master Farad Muhammad, and then he left and went to Chicago. And while he was in Chicago, he joined and became a captain of the legions there. And then he decided, or he saw the opportunity to organize within the ranks and take members, I guess, from the UNIA into the Black Muslim organization in the event of the decline of the UNIA. In the book, The Life and Times of Elijah Muhammad, page 304, it said in one of her writings, Amy J. Garvey, the widow of Marcus Garvey, describes Muhammad as a corporal in the Chicago division of the UNIA during the 1920s. J. Charles Zamti, who is familiar with the Detroit UNIA, has portrayed Muhammad as an active member of the Motor City branch. So we see proof or evidence that is documenting that he was a member, which contradicts Muhammad's own story. However, it goes on to say it is possible that Muhammad did try to attract Garveyites to the nation by giving speeches in the Chicago UNIA Liberty Hall during the early 1930s. So you can find that more information on that in Marcus Garvey in the Vision of Africa, Tony Martin's Raised First, and of course, The Life and Times of Elijah Muhammad. So I mean, there you have it. It's clear that he was around the members anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna end it with this last slide because I've gone over the time by 15 or 13 minutes. But Liberty University, okay. Now this is something that that some people are gonna be interested in studying some more, to be honest with you, because it's quite interesting still. So basically, yeah, you have a map, as you can see, of Virginia property acquired by the UNIA. Now, this is the same location, yeah, that a ship of slaves came. It was the second cargo of Africans brought to America in 1622. So this is the same land, right? But bigger than that, the land is now, well, at the time was owned by Nat Turner's grandson, right? So Garvey's bought, or the UNIA has bought this land to set up the Marcus Garvey University from Nat Turner's grandson, and it's also the land of the second cargo ship of Africans that was kidnapped from Africa. Some deep history there, man. There's some deep history there. So, you know what I mean? So we're gonna leave up there. I had a few more slides. I was gonna go into John Bruce and I was gonna go into that, but we'll leave that one there, because what I'm gonna do is I only touched on them briefly, but I'm gonna be going into them more deeply on the next episode. So here's a a group or a list of books by Marcus Garvey that you could get your hands on. The Marcus Garvey, this one here, the Marcus Garvey papers. There's 10 or 11 volumes. There's 10 or 11 books in a volume. They're huge books. You've got Garvey and Garveyism, which was written by Marcus Garvey's wife. You've got Message to the People, Raised First. These books I kind of, co-sign, as authentic Garvey books on the market. And there's others, but, you have to crawl before you walk. So yeah, anyway, now, so remember, we've got the Marcus Garvey Untold Story, which is this. We've got Marcus Garvey versus Amy Garvey, the battle of the two Amys, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, where I break down the ins and outs of the UNIA, the Negro's worst enemy, and Garveyism is the solution. My Instagram is I am Brother Minister, also at AWF_One Nation, and my YouTube channel is AWF TV. You got tune in. It's gonna get hotter. It's gonna be a warmer summer, and it's gonna be a warmer winter this year. But we're giving Garvey to the people like they've never had it before. I've never even done a presentation on Garvey before, so this is a change for me. I don't normally do presentations, but at the same time, the information is here for my people, and I have to give it to them. It's fundamental that they get this knowledge. So I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. I hope that you got an inspiration. I hope you got some new information. But yeah, we're gonna continue with the next series. So tune in. Stay black, stay alert, and stay alive. Yes, greetings, family. I hope everybody enjoyed the presentation. It was something that I did a few years ago, and I never really did anything much with it. But the series is still there, and I'm gonna be probably updating the series. There's a few more things I could have added to that, but our people, they don't like long-winded things, so I try to keep it within an hour, so that people could enjoy it. Because if it was like 3 hours, 4 hours long, maybe people wouldn't have been able to keep the concentration. Now, moving on, we have a few messages sent from our brothers and sisters around the world. But today is a very important day. I'm sure people are aware of the day. It's Marcus Garvey's 137th birthday. So people understand. Well, they should understand now who the man is, or at least gotten a bit of information around who the man is and why we say he's the greatest. Like I said many times, Garvey is the only man that has organized all of black people, or seek to organize black people. Like a lot of times we have movements in the Caribbean, movements in Americas, movements in Europe, but it doesn't include all of our people. Sometimes we have religious movements that is just based on if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, if you're Pan-African or whatever. Now, Garvey was for everybody. His organization was there for everybody to join. From you was black, you could join, and that is really the fundamental thing, to be fair with you, because too many times we separate ourselves from ourselves. And people might think that sounds crazy, but we do. Honestly, we separate ourselves from ourselves so much. So with the UNIA, it's a fraternity of brothers and sisters all around the world. coming together for the upliftment of the African race. You know, the UNIA is still here. It hasn't gone anywhere. A lot of people may think that it's gone somewhere. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still here to this day. As Deontay Wilder would say, to this day, you know, it's still here. So, you know, I encourage people to seek more information on the UNIA where you are in the world, to see what they have where you are, and join and get organized, brothers and sisters. Get organized wherever you are. Do the little that you can, whatever you do in your life. If we say race first means to put your race first in whatever you do. Whatever you do, if you're a doctor, if you're a scientist, if you're sorry about that, if you're a scientist, whatever you do in your life, if you're a mentor, you know, even if you're an electrician, do you know what I'm saying? Put Garveyism to the front in whatever you do in your life. This is the only way we're gonna get out of this thing, this hole that we find ourselves in, this pit. And you know, we're in this pit at this point by choice now, because we can get out of it. It's only a shallow grave. We can step out of this grave. All it takes is for a few committed people to come together and build institutions that can help serve our people. We don't need to be doing parades. We don't need to be doing a whole heap of other things. But what we do need to be doing is organizing our people. It's fundamental. So without further ado, I'm going to try and see if I can do this now for you guys. I'm going to play a presentation from an elder. Now, this elder, you know, he means a lot to us in the UNIA in London. He was the one that helped us get our charter. You know, he's a very knowledgeable elder. You know, we don't really have much Garvey scholars these days. After Tony Martin's passed away, we don't really have nobody else, you know, documenting Garvey like this. But this elder here, you know, he knows everything. Sometimes, yeah, I'll go to him about a question about something, or I see a picture of somebody, and I'll be like, "Yo, elder, who's this?" He knows everybody. So, you know, I asked him to send us a message, and this is the message for you guys today. Let me just share this screen. All right, here we go, brothers and sisters.
Greetings and great Garvey Day to all the celebrants of the Marcus Garvey Day 2024, hosted by that mighty, powerful London division of the UNIA, the fastest growing division anywhere in the world today. This is the UNIA International Organizer, Brother Morima Kamal, and I greet you in all the languages of Blackness. The Alafia, Etisain, Hotep, Tendai Mwari, Wagwan. What's up? As we celebrate this auspicious occasion, bathed in the spirit of universal African love and confraternity, I want everyone to remember that the reason for the season is Mr. Garvey's love. We love him because he first loved us. And so as we celebrate this great occasion of the man who gave us everything we needed to accomplish anything we will, I want us to keep in mind this year's theme, which is real men laugh at opposition, and real men smile when enemies appear. And the reason I chose this particular scripture from the Gospel of Garveyism is because I am aware of acts of brutality being perpetrated by the far right against unsuspecting, defenseless members of the community, particularly people of color. And I want to make sure I prepare you all with the right attitude if you are confronted with such brutality. I want you all to understand that you need sound judgment and not be fearful and intimidated by these thugs. And remember, Garveyites, during times of crisis, we don't agonize, we organize. Now, while the UNIA is a friendly society and advocates peace and diplomacy whenever possible, when violent thugs threaten the life and liberty of our members, brothers, we don't advocate turning the other cheek. We are not a cheeky organization. We don't talk tongue in cheek. We don't turn the other cheek, nor do we bend any cheeks. Remember, again, we may be meek, but we are not weak, and neither was our leader. So let us reflect for a moment on the life of the Most Honorable Marcus Garvey. And remember, Mr. Garvey was born a warrior. He was born 2 years after the Berlin Conference. He was born 12 years after the Morant Bay Rebellion, which his father participated in. So our founder was born during the time of Great Tribulation. In fact, he founded the UNIA at the outset of World War I and served faithfully as leader until his death at the advent of World War II. So it's fair to say Mr. Garvey was no stranger to danger. Yet even as a young man, he refused to be anybody's punk. His peers respected him because of his intelligence, but he also made them respect the strength of his arms. So we're not following a punk leader. Remember, Mr. Garvey was the only leader who was bold enough to confront the KKK face to face and engage them in a brutally honest conversation. So, why wasn't he afraid? Because real men laugh at opposition and real men smile when enemies appear. Now, Mr. Garvey learned as an adolescent that fear is just a state of nervousness fit for children and not men. And when man fears a creature like himself, he actually hurls an insult at the Almighty. He offends God, who created him in his image and likeness, because he too, in some way, is a God. Now, Mr. Garvey was never afraid of a good fight. And to the contrary, again, he boldly proclaimed real men laugh at opposition. Real men what? Smile when enemies appear. Now, as he began to travel and across the globe and witness the suffering of his people everywhere, Mr. Garvey vowed to restore that liberty to us Africans at home and abroad that we once enjoyed in our motherland before the Ma'afa, aka the Great Tragedy. In the course of his travels, he learned of a massacre that took place in East St. Louis. And one of the worst tragedies, in fact, in U.S. history, aside from the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. During this particular series of events, during the East St. Louis riot, there were men being snatched up out of cars. Young, white girls were snatching, black girls off the street and actually literally beating them to death, taking off their high heels and stabbing them with it. You had, mobs chasing people into burning buildings. And then, they put a wide net around the building and dared anybody to come out and would shoot them if they did or worse. And so, some of the blacks even preferred to jump into the fire than have to face that mob. In fact, they had some cases where, one particular case where one of the members of the National Guard sat there and watched as people were throwing babies into the burning building and actually laughed on one occasion, thought it was quite funny. So Mr. Garvey, in receiving these reports from the East St. Louis riot, made certain observations in the article. First, he noticed the sheer evil of the mobs and warned us to never underestimate them. These types of people are devils, and they do devilish things, and we can't expect that they're going to have any level of humanity when it comes to us. He also noted that the police department was quite inefficient and incompetent when it came to protecting the rights of black people and stemming the violence, particularly when whites are being the attackers against blacks. They somehow get the orders not to shoot, to defend our lives. So that's another observation he made. Finally, he observed that, and I quote, "White people are taking advantage of black men today because black men all over the world are disunited," end quote. Mr. Garvey later suggested that this organization is our greatest enemy. Had we been better organized during this riot when these hordes of devils came in our community, we would have gladly blew them straight back to hell where they belong. But because we weren't organized, we had to suffer the consequences. Today in the UK, there are cowardly mobs of people running wild just the same. These thugs, these ravenous wolves, are preying on select neighborhoods and trying to find easy targets to provoke a race war. Well, you know what Mr. Garvey said about wolves. In the world of wolves, one must go armed. And the best defensive weapon within reach of the first race is the practice of race first in all parts of the world. And so, I repeat again, it's time to get organized, brothers and sisters. Once we organize, I promise you, the time will come when we're going to prove that far right dead wrong if they come up in our neighborhood. When we are organized, we're going to demonstrate to the world the sterling worth of our race and that we are the equal, if not superior, to any other race on the planet. Now, I want you to remember also the words of a Garveyite minister who came to London about 60 years ago. Now, I'm talking about no other than Minister Malcolm X. Yes, I said a Garveyite minister, a man who was Garvey born, Garvey bred, and when he died, was Garvey dead. Now, he made an argument when he was before the Oxford Union, and he made this point that I want to quote, that extremism in defense of liberty is no vice. Moderation in pursuit of justice is no virtue. So don't underestimate these attackers out there. And if attacked, remember the laws of self-defense. When you are attacked, it's better to move than to block. It's better to block than to strike. It's better to strike than to maim. It's better to maim than to kill. And it's always better to kill than be killed. So, look out for yourselves. Finally, brothers and sisters, is during times like these, I hope we begin to understand the value of coming together as a community and as a race. Now that our safety is being threatened and forces are being mobilized against us, we need to really seriously develop a plan of action and coalesce around a program that is tried, tested, and true. Mr. Garvey once said that there's no law but strength, no justice but power. He said if we want justice, we must be strong. And if we must be strong, we must come together. And if we must come together, we can only do so through a system of organization. And that organization is the UNIA, the most tried, tested, and true program ever established. Founded by the master architect and chief engineer, the most comprehensive blueprint for Black power ever designed and constructed. And so as we celebrate this Garvey Day, I ask that everyone mark this celebration by submitting an application. Let us come together and organize and prepare an emergency plan of action to protect one another and, not fall victim to those seeking to do us harm. And I leave you all with the motto of the association: one God, one aim, one destiny. Signing out.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, that was our elder. The one thing about the organization is it brings us together all around the world, as I was saying before, which is very important because the internet now is available. It's made it easier for us to connect with our brothers and sisters around the world. Like I remember growing up having to write letters for my grandma to send to Jamaica. Now I can send a WhatsApp message and I can send that message anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying? So technology has advanced and we should be using the technology for our advancement. So normally at our events or anything that we do, we always have, some type of musical element, some type of spoken word element, because we are creative people. Now we are blessed to have a poet that's always supports the organization. He goes by the name of Nate the Lyricist, and he has sent something to me to play. I'm gonna just start it up now, brothers and sisters. But we're gonna also have another performance by our dear brother Konganaya. I will play that afterwards. Before I play the pledge to the flag. Normally we do all of this stuff at the beginning, but I just went straight into the presentation, so we kind of shuffled things around a little bit. But that's how it goes sometimes. That is how it goes sometimes, my brothers and sisters. So without further ado, let me play our brother Nick.
How's that sounding? That sounding good, yeah? I love it, Excellent, okay. So the second piece that I'm going to do, I wrote specifically for today actually, it's entitled Africa. And yeah, once again guys, you just sit back and enjoy it, yeah? Listen. I was raised in a city where the children do chickens and the judges justify and incentivize these killings. Where the drug brings money and the money brings women because racists pay the media to make it appear appealing. I was born amongst the people that's in dire need of healing. Demons, violent in obedience, scheming, quiet in between them. The life force of God in the body of his archetype, this can't be life. I siphon through my heart to find the meaning. Playing with intelligence, I survey my surroundings. Learn the story of the country that my spirit can be found in. It's astounding that I'm here, my family's dreaming teams of pain. Purpose will be feeling like I'm at the bottom of a mountain, filled with bottled up emotion from a life I never lived. It's no wonder that I chose a life of crime back as a kid. In the lair of the oppressor, I grew up down for whatever left the right path, making errors for my trial at the center. But I'm melanated, baby. I was blessed with the cheat codes, and the key to success is in the spirits of my heroes. So I overstand my history and understand my ego until I learn to turn zero into a bank full of zeros. I'd improve my balance as my work matches my talents, and just watch to see what happens now. I'm rising to the challenge. I'm a man, left with nothing but a plan and my nutsack. I've discovered my purpose now, and nobody can touch that. So I'll be robbing this hood for every penny I can carry to repair the damage this country has done to my family. Then I'm leaving, because other countries want to see me happy. So I'm going to spend that money with the people who eat Gary. I saw that this spectacular good job in exchange for living next door to the drug dealer. Sorry, drug car, new black. I'll be stacking up and packing up, I've lived here for too long. I'll be dying back in Africa. Obviously, I'm living there too, you know what I'm saying, but... Okay. Listen. The land of the sun, Ra, who formed the earth through his birth and it blessed the soul. Ever-present, effervescent, how drawn towards your essence. Your blessings are made manifest in nature, where your influence is greater. Mind creator, who designed you. Injected space with the hydrogen inside you, who inspired you to share your light so graciously with the earth. Because of you now I can see my worth. So I run through the system like the sun. All I've got to do is shine and it inspires everyone. But as I became enlightened, it really helped me to know I was born a bright spark until this country did not glow. Told me white people's history and white people's religion. Filled my mind with white heroes and my hope with black villains. Told down my self-image without so much as a care. So tell me why should I not shine my light here? Raising children next to racists that don't want my past around would be a gross misapplication of the power I'm now found. If you want to know the truth, the more I learn about my roots, I just want to plant my feet where the sun bless the ground so my family can grow strong and our legacy can blossom. How too many losses, I'm fed up with playing hustle, I'm a lion in this bitch. Feel the pain and feel the anger. I'm going back to my savannah because I know it's got my family. For those of you inquiring, my family's from the islands, and if I look mixed, it's because I've got a grandmother from Ireland that was born here, London, where the bobbies beat black kids, and the school to prison pipeliners that's moving like captives. I ate way too much sugar, and I figure that's ironic, because in the history of London, I hear sugar's quite iconic. You can't get me off this rock with his racist royal family, because I know this ain't the lifestyle my forefathers have planned for me. I ain't trying to change your mind, I'm just trying to take what's mine. Got my ancestors alive instead of praying for a sign. I ain't begging up for time, I ain't marching, I ain't crying. I'm just building so my children have a future when I die. I spent my life jumping hurdles because I was on the wrong track. We get 4 laps behind, on a whole different map. Spent life in the UK, trying to dignify my character. But life ain't over yet, so I'll be dying back in Africa. Everybody, last for your attention. You can find me on socials at Nick the Lyricist everywhere. Love and respect. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, that was our brother Nate. Music is very important in the culture. Sometimes, yeah, it can be to our detriment. Music. Do you get what I'm saying? People use music to uplift, or they can use music to control or trap the people. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out how I can play this next video for you guys. Let me see. Y'all just learning this technology, so bear with me, brothers and sisters. Here we go. All right, let's see if I can do this. All right, here we go. All right, we're gonna get to that after and that after. Let's go. Yes, brothers and sisters, bear with me. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. All right. So the next video is by our dear brother Blessed Barak. He made this song years ago. Yeah, he made this song years ago, and it's one of my favorite songs by him. I hope you guys like it. It's a song that is always played at our events. So people are familiar with it. Those that have been to our events. But here goes, my brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Greetings, family. It's come to my attention that there's a problem with the sound, so I'm gonna try to load it up again for you guys. Hopefully, the sound won't let us down this time, or our brother might have to come and give us a live performance, because I see him in the chat. Let's give it another go.
Yeah, greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. You know it's Baraka, giving thanks and praise for life. For Marcus Garvey, Earthstrong. Yeah, on behalf of UNIA, ACL, Lions Den Fam, Rastafari Global Council. Yeah. Yeah, Baraka, Yanane. Just wave up the red, the black, the green. When Marcus Garvey rolling, tell me how you feel to be a free African today. Just wave up the red, the black, the green. When Marcus Garvey rolling, tell me how you feel to be a free African today. It's all about the red, the black, the green. Liberate your mind and set yourself free. Now I can be who I really wanna be. Just a true black man searching for my family. Well, yeah, we've been taken from Africa. Stay a lead and don't be no follower. African missing sons and daughters. Trot on home and reclaim your culture with the red, the black, the green. When Marcus Garvey rolling, tell me how you feel to be a free African today. Just wave up the red, the black, the green. When Marcus Garvey rolling, tell me how you feel to be a free African today. I know we was thrown in at the west side, there we grow. Somebody tell me which flag we flow. From down in a Jamaica to the beer or the dragon or eagle. Marcus Garvey say, organize, don't you live separate. All the borders of the earth you'll be respected. All the sons and daughters of a slave, we rise up again and we rotty and brave. With the red, the black, the green. Yeah. We have the red, the black, the green. We have the red, the black, the green. Yeah. We have the red, the black, the green. Wave up the red, the black, the green. When Marcus Garvey rolling, tell me how you feel to be a free African today. Just wave up the red, the black, the green. When Marcus Garvey rolling, tell me how you feel to be a free African. A nation without a flag is like a tree without a root. The black man army will want you recruit. Yahweh done set it, Prince Emmanuel bless it. The king of Ethiopia I him crown at the head of this. Black people not try confuse. Free up your medi with the spiritual food. Don't mama earth wanna respect you. Gideon warriors passing through with the red, the black, the green. Imagine that. Yes, we give thanks. I chant the African unity. I want to see organized, centralized, and mobilized. Now watch me now. One love, yeah, is a statement kind in I mind by the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Yeah. But you know, we have to learn to live this one. Yeah, and give kind it in our own hearts and mind in our community. Watch this one. Talk about love and them no really know the meaning. Love you in the morning and them hit you in the evening. Love you when you're strong, hate you when you're leaning. Them love they are depend on feelings. Rastafari I bring love. I need him to tell you say I want love. And even from the dirt we'll create love. And if your cup is empty we refill it now. This a love I come straight from Zion. Love that I found it herb like iron. Conscience and meaning the love of triumph. This I love you know it bigger than the giant. Tell the queens them bring the children come. This love I share with the old and the young. Don't worry yourself because the love can't done. This a love I get kissed by the sun. Them attack all love and them no really know the meaning. Love you in the morning and them hate you in the evening. Love you when you're strong, hate you when you're leaning. Them love they are depend on feelings. Marcus Garvey, I bring love. I need to me tell you, say I want love. Even from the dirt we will create love. And if your cup is empty, we will fill. Happy write a love tune and find a love groove. Happy overstand the meaning, make a love proof. In a me turban and me robe and me love shoes. And I tried it on the stage with a love groove. I say extra, extra, hear the love news. This a love I make the heathen confused. And when them get it, them just can't abuse. It means I want for me what I want for you. Talk all love and them no really know the meaning. Love you in the morning and them hate you in the evening. Love you when you're strong, hate you when you're leaning. Them love they are depend on feelings. Marcus Garvey, I bring love. I need to me tell you, say I want love. Even from the dirt we will create love. And if your cup is empty, we fill it now. We give thanks and praise to life. And Marcus Garvey, Earthstrong. Yeah. Marcus Garvey. Yeah. Give thanks and praise unto all of the people. Ice. Yeah, yeah, whoa.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, that was our brother, Blessed Barack. You know, people are familiar with that song, or if they're not, they should be now. So the next video we're going to play is from Jamaica. It's from our brother President Stephen from the Jamaica chapter. So there's been a lot of things going on in Jamaica for the birthday of Marcus Garvey. Let me just find it. It's a short video. Let me see now. Yeah, here we go now. Let's go, brothers and sisters. Oh, what am I doing? Here we go.
We want to say good night and send greetings to our brothers and sisters of the UNIA division in South London. Shout out to President Malik and the rest of his executive officers. I'm Brother Stephen Golding, President of the Kingston Division 1 in Jamaica. This is our Lady Vice President Sandy Hewitt, our chaplain, Kes Haile Michael of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. We've just laid wreaths at the shrine of Marcus Garvey this morning. It's an annual event put on by the government of Jamaica. Dr. Julius Garvey, his son, was here along with other representatives and dignitaries. And this is how we begin the 137th anniversary celebration of the birth of Jamaica's first national hero, Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Yes, sir.
We stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters, and we send greetings to Garveyites worldwide tuning into this live YouTube broadcast. Salute. One God, one aim,
One destiny.
Good.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, that's coming all the way from Jamaica. The last video I'm gonna share will be from our brother giving brother Race First. He's gonna be reading for us. So normally we like to add a reading element to whatever we're doing, because you know we have to read. You know, some people may not like that. But, you know, we're not just about reading, so I don't want no one to start thinking, boy, we just read. We're about the action. We're about nation building. But at the same time, we have to know what took place before us in order to move forward and make the right moves, so we don't find ourselves repeating the same things that our ancestors did. That we must learn from the mistakes that they made, and do the right thing. So it's easier for us to, because you know, sometimes we find ourselves reinventing the wheel. We don't have to reinvent anything. We just need to keep building on what our grandparents did or what our ancestors did. We just need to keep building and building and building. Each generation should come and lay a stone. You know, that's my philosophy. We used to hear the saying growing up, many people from the Caribbean, that 1 Coke or full basket. So sometimes it's not about having 1,000, 10 million followers. You know, if we even had 500 brothers and sisters dedicated, that would solve majority of our problems in the UK. We could build a school. We could build the institutions that we need, that's going to help us, you know, change the conditions of our people over in the UK. And if we had brothers and sisters in France, Italy, Holland, you know, having 300 members there, all doing the same thing, you will start to see the liberation of African people worldwide. So without further ado, I'm gonna play dear brother Frank, Race First.
Right, good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Today we are here commemorating the Honourable Marcus Messiah Garvey on his birthday, his born day. So I've got a couple books here that I want to share with the people that might not be familiar. I have Race First, if you want to get to know about the man, required reading. I have Message to the People by Marcus Garvey. If you're not going to read any other book on Garvey, I reckon read this, because these are lessons, ironclad lessons for us to be better black women and better black men within the society. Also, I have Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, again, another good book. And I have these two chunky ones that were written by Robert A. Hill, and there's some papers on what various other white organizations thought of Marcus Garvey. There's about, I want to say 10 volumes. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. I think there could be more, but these are what I read. So before I continue with what I'm going to read from Message to the People, I just want to talk about the importance of building institutions, because to have all these books is nice, it's good to read, it's good to know the knowledge, but unless we are putting in the work, then we are just masquerading. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit all for nothing, innit? We can talk about how great he is and get together, recite speeches, but unless we are putting in the work, building schools, building banks, have community initiatives, then this is all, really all for nothing, innit? And I believe the way you venerate somebody is you do what they said and try to become even greater than that person. So with no further ado, I'm going to read from Message to the People about the importance of institutions. So this is lesson 12 in Message to the People, and I will begin reading. Organized society is always a mass of people, and as such cannot do anything explicit or by detail by themselves. Hence, the organizing of institutions to do particular work that cannot be done by the masses as a whole. There are different kinds of institutions in a society, but each institution has its particular function, whether it be church, college, or university, school, hospital, academia, chamber of commerce, fraternity, trade union, literary club, sports club, athletics club, gymnasium, YMCA or YCA, etc. In our present civilization, no society would be considered functioning properly if such institutions do not exist. Therefore, it is necessary for the Negro to pay close attention to developing the appreciation for institutional life. It is not necessary or binding that he copies completely the systems, methods, or manners of these institutions, except insofar as they will go to help him to promote a higher life and in accomplishing the most out of this organized society. It is incumbent upon him that he also have control of his own institutions, based upon his own cultural and civilized idealism. As for instance, he may have his own church, but it's not necessary for him to adopt the peculiar articles of faith of the churches of alien races. He is not a Hebrew, therefore he cannot adopt the Hebrew faith. He is not by origin a Roman Catholic nor an Anglican, because these faiths or religions were founded by the white man with an idea of their own. It is his religious philosophy. The Negro may safely adopt articles of faith to link him to the Godhead of the Christian faith, and practice such as particular religions, and so likewise with all other institutions. His universities, colleges, and schools may engage in the same process of education, but with an adopted curriculum necessary for the special benefit of the Negro. His clubs, academies, and unions must be modeled in the same way, with the absolute objective of attaining the end that is particularly desired by the race. The Negro should have complete surrender himself to the institutional life of other people. No, sorry, let me read that again. The Negro should never completely surrender himself to the institutional life of other people. Otherwise, he will not be the original, but purely and merely a copyist. If this could be appreciated, it shows or reveals the wide fields that have remained untouched for the Negro organization and the Negro activity. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to end it there. But I think you get the gist of why institutions are so important as we try to move forward as a people. And I'm going to end the video there. And I'm going to say great Garvey Day to you all. And may we be the embodiment and try and live Garvey, and not just read Garvey, but actually live it. Great Garvey Day. Peace. One love, one aim, one destiny.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, that was our brother Race First, giving us a read that was from The Message to the People. And that book is very important to me also. I think that book was actually the first book I ever read in my whole life. Prior to that, I had never read before. You know, I can humbly say I've probably read maybe 300 books now, maybe more. But that was the very first book I ever read in my whole life. And that book somewhat changed the direction of my life. You know, it might not do that for everybody, but for me at a young age, I think I may have been at the time 19 years old. I didn't really know much about Garvey prior to that. I might have seen his face on a Ludo board or something like that, but I didn't know the magnitude of the guy. I didn't understand the organization he created. I didn't understand much. I just might have seen his face around, you know, but that book really, you know, made me understand. So the book that he was reading for, like I said, is called Message to the People. It was a course given to young Garveyites. You know, he was trying to train leaders in the event that, you know, what happened, he was deported, that they would understand the work that they need to do, you know, from a Garveyite perspective. So, you know, I urge people to get their hands on a copy of that. You can get that book from our brother Solomon. Follow him at his Instagram, which is Black Child Promotions. You know, tell him I've sent you. He will look after you. But yeah, you gotta get that book. You know, and we're gonna play the pledge to the flag. Like I said, the order of this live today is been a bit scattered. So normally we kind of have the pledge first. We have the national anthem and all of those things before we get into the presentation or the food. But we've kind of mixed it around. And after I play this video, you know, I'm gonna allow anybody that wants to ask questions, you know, before we open up the chat room to discuss some other issues. You know, we will get to that in a second. But let me just get our brother Lion up and running. I don't know what's going on with this now. This thing is made my guy. This thing is playing him upside down, brothers and sisters. I don't know if I should even play it. I'm gonna play it anyway. Forgive me, brother Lion. It's out of my hands. It's out of my hands, brother. Let me try and close it and do it again. Because I don't want to disrespect our dear brother by playing him upside down. But yeah, no, it's not having it. But you know, it's very short. It's a very short pledge, but this pledge is for all African people around the world. This is the pledge that we take to the flag. So for those that don't know, you're gonna get to know now.
I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security of the red, black, and green. I dedicate my life to the redemption of Africa and the liberation of our scattered black children. I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism. And I promise that our children will be instilled with the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people, in order that our struggle shall not falter nor fail until all black people are free and united through one God, one aim, one destiny.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the pledge to the flag that all members of the organization know, and we pledge to the work that we're trying to do. You know, people pledge their allegiance to England and other colonial powers. We at the UNIA, we pledge our allegiance to the whole African race. I have something else to play, but I think that it's going to be too long. So what I am going to do is I'm going to upload that on the YouTube separate, so people can take that in for themselves. So I'm going to open up the forum to anybody that wants to ask any questions. Let me just copy the link in the chat for you guys. I've seen my brother Lorenzo is still here. Let me unmute him. He's not even unmuting. Message him. But yes, my brothers and sisters, it's very important that we do the work. You know, that's ultimately the main thing that we need to focus on, is building institutions, is being the help to our community. You know, we must provide services for our people. This is how we're gonna build. We're not gonna get nowhere just keeping events and just doing the same thing over and over and over again. We have to be doing something different now. For years we have continued to do the same thing over and over again, and we're not getting any results. So it's clear that something is wrong. We may need to change our approach on the way we do things now. No, we're not reaching our people. Our people they're calling for the knowledge, but they don't know where to access the knowledge from. They don't know where it is. So, you know, we've got to bring the knowledge to the people. We really have to. And why I wait for our brothers to join the open panel. I'm actually gonna go back to playing another speech by Garvey, because you know I want you to hear the spirit of the man. Like I want you guys to really hear his voice, hear the spirit here, for you could hear the genuineness in his voice. You can hear this, maybe, you know, he's even fed up even. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he's been trying to build, and people are after him, people are trying to shoot him. You know, they put him in prison. You know, like we today, you know, we kind of got it easier in some ways. You know what I'm saying, in terms of organizing and things like that. We kind of have an easier right? Even though it's the same, you know, people, they will kill us just like they killed our elders before. But we've got these people before us. Why I say it's easier. We have the likes of Marcus Garvey, we have the likes of Malcolm X and others, you know. So we have a blueprint of what to do. So somebody's actually done something before. It's like when you watch a YouTube video now, right? You know, you want to build something or do something, you can go on YouTube and it will tell you how to build the thing, how to use a new phone or something, you know. So Marcus Garvey is like that. He showed us what we need to do. So I'm gonna play this for maybe 5 minutes. So stop, man. Come on, man. Don't disrespect the God like that.
Did not suffer and die to give me an education to slight, oppress, or discourage my people. Because whatsoever education I acquired out of their sacrifice of over 300 years, I shall use for the salvation of the 400 million black people of the world. And the day when I forsake my people, may God Almighty say there shall be no more life for you. I unequivocally rejected the racist assumption of much white American Christianity, namely that God had created the black man inferior and that he had intended Negroes to be a servant class, hewers of wood and drawers of water. Well, I predicated my view of man on the doctrine of Imago Dei. All men, regardless of color, are created in the image of God. Now, from this premise followed the equality of all men and the brotherhood of all men. The biblical injunction of Acts 17:26 reminds us that he created of one blood all nations of men that dwell on the face of the earth. I was most interested in brotherhood within his own race, because if Negroes are created in God's image and Negroes are black, then God must, in some sense, be black. If the white man has the idea of a white God, let him worship his God as he desires. We have found a new ideal, because whilst our God has no color, and yet it is human to see everything through one's own spectacles, and since the white people have seen their God through their white spectacles, we have only now started to see our God through our own spectacles. For we believe in the God of Ethiopia, the everlasting God, God of Father, God of Son, God of Holy Ghost, the one God of all ages. That is the God in whom we believe, but we shall worship him through the spectacles of Ethiopia. For 250 years, we have struggled under the burden and rigors of slavery. We were maimed, we were brutalized, we were ravaged in every way. We are men. We have hopes, we have passions, we have feelings, we have desires just like any other race. The cry is raised all over the world of Canada for the Canadians, of America for the Americans, of England for the English, of France for the French, of Germany for the Germans. Do you take it unreasonable that we, the blacks of the world, should raise the cry of Africa for the Africans? The Negro is a man. We represent the new Negro. His back is not yet against the wall. We do not want his back against the wall because that would be a peculiar and desperate position. We do not want him there. It is because of this that we are asking for fair compromise. Where the Belgians have control of the Belgian Congo, which they cannot use, they have not the resources to develop nor the intelligence. The French have more territory than they can develop. There are certain parts of Africa in which they cannot live at all. So it is for you to come together and give us a United States of Africa. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are not going to be a race without a country. God never intended it, and we are not going to abuse God's confidence in us as men. We are men, human beings, capable of the same acts as any other race, possessing under fair circumstances the same intelligence as any other race. Now Africa's been sleeping, not dead, only sleeping. Today Africa is walking around not only on her feet, but on her brains. You can enslave as was done for 300 years the bodies of men. You can shackle the hands of men. You can shackle the feet of men. You can imprison the bodies of men, but you cannot shackle or imprison the minds of men. Dive down, black men, and dig. Reach up, black men and women, and put all nature's knowledge to you. Turn ye around and make a conquest of everything, north and south, east and west. And then when you have wrought well, you will have merited God's blessing. You will have become God's chosen people, and naturally you will become leaders of the world. And as you bow down to the white man today, so a lot of races bow down to you and call you a race of masters because of the superiority of your mind and your achievements. Because no race has the last word on culture and civilization. They do not know what we are capable of. They do not know what we are thinking. They're thinking in terms of dreadnoughts, battleships, aeroplanes, submarines. You know what we're thinking about? That is our own private business. So give us credit for being able to use our minds. And with people becoming conscious of themselves, determined to use their minds, you do not know to what extent they can go. Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. We love the white race, not for social fellowship, but for the common brotherhood of God intended we should live. What satisfaction can anyone get in being happy and see his brother wallowing in filth, dirt, and disease? How can you be happy living in luxury and your brother's living in disease? And then when you try to help the one out of the disease, the subtle culprit talks about disloyalty. Black men of Carthage, black men of Ethiopia, of Timbuktu, of Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt. Because classes, nations, races have been quite quiet for over 4 centuries, who has merely borne abuse, insult, humiliation, whose forbearance can only be compared to the prophet Job, as likewise lifted his bowed head and raised it up to God's skies and cried out, I am a man, and demand a man's chance and a man's treatment in this world. But I shall teach the black man to see beauty in his own kind and stop bleaching his skin and otherwise looking like what he's not. Back in the days of slavery, race mixture, miscegenation had occurred because the African woman had no protection from the slave master. Therefore, there is no need today for black people to themselves freely continue a practice that smacks so much of slavery. Our predecessor, the race problem will be solved through higher education, through better education, and black and white will come together. That day will never happen until Africa is redeemed. Because if those who like W.E.B. Du Bois believe that the race problem will be solved in America through higher education, they will walk between now and eternity and never see the problem solved. God made man Lord of his creation, gave him possession and ownership of the world. And you have been so darned lazy that you have allowed the other fellow to run away with the whole world, and now he's bluffing you and telling you that the world belongs to him and that you have no part in it. I don't have to apologize to anybody for being black, because God Almighty knew exactly what he was doing when he made me black. If black people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves. Yes, you heard of Johnny Walker Red and black. Well, he had his adversities, but he's still going strong. Well, I intend with your help and God's grace to continue, because my work has only just begun. And future generations shall have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. I know, and I know you too believe in time, but we shall wait patiently for 200 years if need be to face our enemies through our posterity. When my enemies are satisfied, in life I shall come back, or in death even to serve you as I served before. In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror to the If death has power, then count on me to be the real Marcus Garvey I would like to be. If I may come in an earthquake or a plague or a pestilence or as God would have me, then be assured that I shall never desert you and make your enemies triumph over you. Will I not go to hell 1,000,000 times for you? If I die in Atlanta, my work will only just then begin. For I shall live in the physical or the spiritual to see the day of Africa's glory. When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black, and the green around me, for in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessings to lead the millions up the heights and the triumph that you well know. Look for me in a world when there is storm. Look for me all around you, for with God's grace I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Our great scholars, having passed through the colleges and universities, have thrown away the blessed record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You race of cowards, you race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have better die.
Yes, my brothers and sisters. Yes, that speech there, you know, always gets me, man. That speech is such a powerful speech. Do you know what I'm saying? And I ended it there on purpose, you know, because listen to what the man said, you know. If you're not prepared to do what other men have done, yeah, you might as well be dead. It calls man a race of cowards, you know, a race of imbeciles. Those are some strong words, brothers and sisters. Those are not no weak words, you know. And here's a man trying to build our people, you know, but he can see that some people, they're just happy being slaves. You know, you hear him talking about leadership. It's, you know what I'm saying? And leadership is a very important thing, because I would argue that we don't have no leaders. And in opening up the panel, it's a good starting point, because we can see what's going on in Africa right now. You know, we have, you know, a promising leader. He's the youngest ruler in Africa. Man like Ibrahim, yeah, and you can see the work that he's doing in Africa. Like, I'm in the UK watching our brother in Burkina Faso and thinking, rah, I wish I was out there. I wish I was out there to support him in the work that he's doing. You can see he's run out the French. He's about to change the currency. He's built factories. He's even purchased drones from Turkey for self-defense. Now, this is a good leadership. Not like the leadership we've had for the last 50 years that just pocket money for themselves while their people are starving. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not a good leadership. Even in the UK, these leaders that we have, or misleaders, yeah, they ain't really been doing nothing for the people. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I want people to really, you know, look at our brother Ibrahim, follow that movement and see the work that he's doing. I'm going to open up the panel. I see our brother Blessed Barak is here. You're going to have to unmute yourself, Fire. We can't hear you. So you might need to sort out your mic. You're unmuted. But when we look at those kind of leaderships in Africa right now, you can see a change that's happening. You know, we need to be a part of this change. We need to support our brothers in this change in any shape or form that we can. Because ultimately, if Africa is free, anywhere you find black people around the world, we shall be free also. I don't know what's wrong with your mic, Bless. I'll give you some time to figure that out. But yeah, you know, this, I don't know, man. I don't know if people are aware of what's been going on in Africa as we speak. Let me see if I can, because I've been following this. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I've been following what's going on, every move that he's been making. Yeah, I've been following. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really impressed with our brother. I'm really impressed with what our brother's dealing with over there. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's inspirational even to see what this man is doing. Because, you know, sometimes we're caught up in fear. We fear these people. We have them up, like, we can't free ourselves. They're so powerful. They're so mighty. You know, we can't do nothing. We're powerless. We're not powerless people. We just give away our power to somebody else. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we allow these people to rule us when we should be ruling ourselves at this point now. At this point in history now, where we find ourselves, we have the means to free ourselves. There's no excuse, black man. There's no excuse, black woman, for our conditions that we find ourselves in. There is no excuse. Yes, there's a lot of distractions. Yes, there's a lot of ignorance. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, we have the power to change things. You know, white supremacy will fall. Marcus Garvey teaches us that white supremacy will fall in 48 hours if we wanted it to. You know, he might have even said 24 hours, but I'll add 48 hours for it to ricochet across everywhere. Yeah, but, you know, imagine, for instance, yeah, we decided that no black person around the world is going to go to work on the 31st of August. Nobody's going to, brother saying this, the sound is gone. I don't know. Can you hear me now, brother? Imagine everybody decided, yeah, that on the 31st of August, we're not going to work. You know that the system will crash. We are the ones that's keeping up this system. We are the ones that are maintaining white supremacy. It's us that's doing it. We need to stop doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? We need to change the way we're doing things. We need to adapt or adopt. We need to adopt to the Garveyism principle. One of the questions in the chat, how do I, here we go. See, I'm getting better at this. Yeah. One of the questions in the chat is how do we do this with so many divisions? Well, you know, many people are dividing themselves. Yeah, it's true. But if you look at what our brother is doing in Africa right now, it can be done. Even with the dividedness, even with the scatteredness, it can be done. At that time, when Garvey was organizing, yeah, there was probably a lot more fear because Garvey was organizing in a time where black people were getting lynched on the street. You couldn't even walk on the same side of the road as a white person in those times. So it can be done. You know, they say black people can't organize. Black people can organize if black people want to be organized. Anything that man has done before, we can do it again. This is the teaching of Garveyism. This is what's going on, my brothers. Look at what's going on in Africa right now. Look at the young leader, the young, powerful champion. Look what he's doing. Google him. Google him, and you will see fearless, bold black man. He's going to bring change, and it will ricochet across the whole of Africa. Just wait and see. They've tried to kill him 6 times already and failed. You know, we just pray that they don't get to him, that he doesn't get infiltrated, because they always find, like Dr. Khaled would say, they always find some black man, yeah, to do their dirty work for them. Because when they realize that they can't get into the function, they will find some traitor amongst us to do their dirty work. If we look at all of our people, like the story of Malcolm X, for instance, it wasn't. Some people say it was the white man that killed him. I don't disagree, but I know a black man pulled the trigger. There should never have been a black man to pull that trigger. You shouldn't have been able to find a black man that would have done that dirty work for them crackers. Nowhere on the earth. At no time. We should have killed whoever came to us and said that. So we have to do better, brothers and sisters. This is what we have to be doing. But I'm so happy to see our brother in Africa making these bold moves. Do you know what I'm saying? It gives inspiration to me. You know, it shows that we can do it if we want to do it. It shows that our brothers on the continent are awakening. There's a new spirit going around right now, brothers and sisters. There's a spirit of change happening right underneath our eyes, or underneath their noses, as they say. Yeah, it's up to you if you want to be a part of this change or not. That is your choice. But the change is going to happen regardless. It's like you're waiting at the bus stop and you see the bus come and you don't jump on the bus. You stay. You stay there waiting for the next bus, and the next bus may not never come. Our brother Huey in the chat has said security was the blame for Malcolm's death. You know, yes, maybe he should have had more security that day. Yeah, there's not no maybe, 100%. He should have had the security that day. But these people were coming for him. They already tried to kill him in Boston. He was on the motorway and they were having a shootout on the motorway, or the highway as they call it in America. You know, so these people had their plan to kill our dear elder Malcolm X. And Malcolm X is other than Garvey, you know, because Garvey is my favorite speaker, and then I'll probably say Dr. Khaled. But Malcolm X here, universally, is probably one of the best speakers we've ever had. And that goes without a doubt. People can disagree, people can agree, but Malcolm was a brilliant brother. And when you look at the history of Malcolm X, his mum and dad were part of the UNIA. In fact, here you can find a letter written by Malcolm's dad to the President of America, asking for him to be pardoned. You know, they killed Malcolm X's dad and tried to say it was suicide so that he wouldn't be able to claim no insurance, so the family couldn't claim insurance. They tied him down to a truck and killed him, the KKK. But I'm saying Malcolm came from a strong household. You know what I'm saying? Like he was installed with Garveyism from young. You know, in absence of his parents, you know, he went the wrong way only to make a full circle, to come right back round to the teaching that he was taught as a child. And he makes that speech when he says, you know, it's funny how he called it Pan-Africanism, but he's saying it was funny how he avoided it only to come right back round to it. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we hail up Malcolm X same way, and the works that he did. You know, very important figures in our community. But the point that I'm making is that we are the ones that pulled the trigger. Black people, people that have the same skin as us, maybe not the same mind as us, but the same skin as us, killed Malcolm. You know, I've put the link in the chat. You know, I don't know why people are moving shy this evening. But people join the chat, because, you know, I don't want to be talking to myself for another half an hour, because we're gonna end in half an hour. But I don't want to be talking to myself. So if people want to join, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Come and voice your opinions, you know, your facts, your truths. You know, come and give pay respects to the honourable, the most honourable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the greatest example we have as a black man in this time. You know, we can say that there's, you know, that some people say, no, we've never had no good examples. Yes, we have. I can name so many. You know, JJ Dessalines, one of my favorite black men, you know, is a great example for us. You know, Marcus Garvey said that we should make sainthoods for ourselves. We should create heroes of ourselves. We shouldn't be taking the heroes that they give us. I'm not taking nothing away from our dear brother Nelson Mandela. I don't know what I would do if I was locked away for 27 years. You know, I don't know what I would do. So I'm not taking nothing away, nor am I speaking bad about the dead. You know what I'm saying? That's not me. But what I will say is that we have great people in our history, like JJ Dessalines, my brothers and sisters. If you don't know about this brother, you guys need to go and Google's here. Like Google him. You know, get to know. Do you know what I'm saying? We've had great people in our history. We've had great, it's not just men, we've had great warriors, queens in our history. Ya Ashantoa, Queen Nzinga. Do you know what I'm saying? We've had great warriors in our history, brothers and sisters. And we need to remember them, because if we don't remember them, they will be forgotten. Because if we don't teach our children or make them, you know, for me personally, I don't necessarily believe in just teaching your children individuals. It's like giving a man a fish for the day, they're gonna eat. But you give them the thinking of African nationalism, they'll be able to fish for themselves. This is what we need to be doing, teaching our children race first, how to move as race first, how to understand the principles of a black man and a black woman. Because a lot of us ain't getting it today, especially in the UK. You know, the further we move away from our African or Caribbean heritage, we are now creating or allowing them to create us into Black British. And then we create another identity around what Black British is, the Black British experience, or the Black Italian experience or the Black French experience or wherever we find ourselves, right? We label ourselves and all of this, but we need to go back to the oneness. You know, Garvey used to end most of his speeches with the word one love. Bob Marley, they sung a song about one love, you know, and people have turned that into some hippie thing. But he was trying to show that there's one love amongst us. There's one blood amongst us. His motto was one God, one aim, and one destiny. So it don't matter if you say Allah. It doesn't matter if you say Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter what you name your God. We're saying there's only one God. There's only one aim, and the aim is for the upliftment of the African race and the restoring of Africa. And there's only one destiny for Black people. Do you understand? And this is the teaching of Garvey. This is why Garvey is the greatest to me. Somebody said, Brother Huey said that Muhammad Ali was a mobilizer, not an organizer. Well, yeah, but you know, Muhammad Ali to me was one of the greatest athletes we've ever had. You know, his biggest fights never happened in the ring. His biggest fights happened in the courtrooms against white supremacy. So, you know, Muhammad Ali was a great man also. Do you know what I'm saying? But, you know, a lot of the times, you know, we focus on entertainers and sports personalities and things of that nature. And these people are just trying to get paid. And I ain't got nothing against them. Go get your money, brothers and sisters. But you still have an obligation to your people. You still have an obligation to your race. Everybody does. Every last one of us has an obligation to our race. We can either build or we can destroy. You know, one of the things that I see online the other day about Buju Banton talking about Afro beats, you know, I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that he said, but ultimately I agree that Afro beats is just fun. Even Burna Boy himself said, you know, Afro beats has no message to it. You know, so he tries to add a little bit of message to his music. So if you listen to Burna Boy's music, you will find on his album, he's got 1 or 2 songs on every album where it has a bit of substance. Music has to have a message. It can't just be about enjoyment. You know, we're at a stage where we don't need enjoyment. We've had too much enjoyment. We've been enjoying, yeah, for the last, most of us in our whole life has been about enjoyments, party and bullshit, to be honest with you. That's what we've been doing our whole life. It's been partying away and enjoyment, this, that, holidays, this, all this. Not to say you mustn't enjoy, of course, have enjoyment. But you can only truly have enjoyment once you've done the work. Like most people think that the enjoyment comes after you've worked. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what, we find ourselves in a cycle where Friday comes, it's like Emancipation Day. When we celebrate, it's the weekend, and then we go right back to the plantation Monday. And it's an ongoing cycle, and we're going round and round like a mouse on a wheel, going round and round. We could only have true enjoyment once we are free, or once we've done the work, or some work, brothers and sisters. Everybody can play a part. Like I said, innit, be a revolutionary in whatever you do. If you're a doctor, be a revolutionary doctor. If you're a scientist, be a revolutionary scientist. Like Brother Nate, he's a poet, but he's a revolutionary poet. Blessed Barak, he's an artist, but he's a revolutionary artist. This is Garveyism. This is what we're talking about. We're not telling you to change your passion or your love or your talent. No, we're saying use your talent and your passion to uplift your people. Let that pause for that sink in. Use your talent and your passion to uplift your people, brothers and sisters. Only then we will see some change. You know, everybody's asking about how we're gonna do things. I just seen a message in my WhatsApp about how are we gonna make this change. Well, the first thing is you've got to change the way you think. So a revolution, Dr. Khaled taught us this. For those that are aware of Dr. Khaled Abdul Muhammad, one of the boldest, uncompromising black men ever to walk the face of this earth, he taught that a revolution is a complete constructive change. So when people hear the word revolution, sometimes they get scared. Like, we're scared of that word. A lot of brothers and sisters hear that word and start shaking in their boots. No, brothers and sisters, there's no need to be scared. But if anybody is going to be killed, it's going to be that European in your mind. I'm gonna take some pauses when I say certain of these things to let it sink home with you. We have to rid our mind. We have to rid our minds of this colonial ruler that's set up shop in our minds, that set a house inside of our home, which is our head. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And then we act on his benefit. We have to dethrone him. That's the first stage. Once we've done that, then you're gonna want to do something for your people. You can tell somebody's habits or who a person is by their habits and what they watch and what they spend their money on. Dr. Amos Wilson teaches us the psychology of the mind. And he shows us that, you know, where you spend your money, that's where your loyalty is. So how much of us spend our money with the community? I already said that if we had 300 people, 500 people in the UK, wherever you find yourself, brothers and sisters, anywhere in Europe, Americas, the Caribbeans, or Africa, if we had 500 people in each division, yeah, committed to building a nation, we will see the change that we want. I'm telling you, if every division had 300 people and they saved their money and gave £1,000, £1,000, yeah, we would have 300 grand, brothers and sisters. That can do something, because ultimately it's going to take some money to do some of the things that we need to do. So we need to be building. Like back in the day when our parents came or our grandparents came to the UK, we used to have systems like the partner system, where people will give money to save and things of that nature. We need to be setting up things like this again to help build our brothers and sisters. Because ultimately, strong families equal a strong nation. But the hardest thing to do in this time is to have strong families, because we find ourselves fighting against each other. You know, one going left and the other is going right. You know, Marcus Garvey spoke about all of these things in that little book, Message to the People. It's such a little book in size, my brothers and sisters, but it is one of the most powerful books that you can read. Trust me, go get the book, yeah? And if you don't like the book, come and complain to me. There's something in that book that's going to trigger you. That's going to trigger your thoughts. It's going to reactivate something inside of you. Yeah, to do something for your people. And ultimately, this is what we need. I don't need nobody to say, well done, brother minister. Or sorry, I don't want nobody to say, well said, brother minister. I'd rather somebody say, well done, brother minister. We've done something. Because we've had a lot of talk. Do you know what I'm saying? For years, I told you, Malcolm X was one of the best teachers or speakers that we've had. So we've had all the talk that we need. Now we need the action. So, and going back to what I was saying about our dear brother in Africa, he is doing the actions that we have been speaking about for so long, that we've been dreaming about, or some of us, especially me. I've been dreaming for the day a black man in control of an African country or state is going to take back the country for the people. The day is here. It's happening right now. We need to support him in any way that we can. In any way that we can. So, you know, you guys are gonna make me talk out the thing till 1 o'clock. It's fine. I don't mind. You know, I would have rather some interaction from our brothers and sisters, but you know, I know we're shy people. You know, so I will keep the ball rolling. But you know, ultimately the works. You know, the Bible says, yeah. I'm not a religious man for people saying, brother minister, why are you quoting the Bible? But I understand that the Bible is a tool that was used to enslave our people. So the Bible can be used as a tool to unenslave our people. You know, there's a saying that belief can curse, or belief can cure. Now the Bible says, yeah, that faith without works is dead. That's what the Bible says. Faith without works is dead. So if our faith is the liberation of African people, without the works, our faith is dead. If we compromise the truth, the purity of the truth that we're speaking is removed. We can't compromise the truth no more. We have to say it how it is. It's not about feeling good. It's not about making you feel good either. It's about true talk, real talk to reach our brothers and sisters. This is what it's about. I see our sister is joining the panel. Greetings, my sister. I don't know why I can't hear you. I don't know. I think Instagram or this StreamYard has banned people from speaking, because I've had a few people join the panel and I can't hear them. So I don't know what's happening there. I really don't know. I'm just going to look at some of the texts that I've received on my phone. Somebody said, what do you think Garvey's advice will be, or plan of action towards the race riots in the UK? You know, there was race riots at the time of Garvey. And they say that it was a Garveyite that actually started the riot when he shot one of the white policemen at that time. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm not telling people to do things of that nature. The best thing that we can do is organize ourselves. When we're organized, we won't have no trouble, because we're organized. If you look at the Jewish community in London, in Stamford Hill, they've got a whole community for themselves. They got their own police service, their own ambulance. They got everything that they need. They're self-sufficient. We need to do the same. We need to close our doors and focus on nation building. That should be the focus for our people in this time, is to build a nation wherever we are. Like I said, we've got the internet now. You know, as an example, I had our brother in America, the elder, our historian. We had our brother in Jamaica. You know, I was going to show another video of a sister doing a painting, but it's too long. I'm going to upload that to the YouTube channel. But the YouTube or the internet can be used as a tool to unite us, not just a tool to watch shows like Pop the Balloon or I don't know, whatever we're watching these days. You know, we can use it for positive too, not just to escape the hardships of our life. Do you know what I'm saying? We can actually use it for something productive, like bringing our people together, sharing information, building with our people, creating works where people can join and help and build. Brother Huey has said that, you know, the president of Tanzania did this in 2019 and inspired a new generation of leaders to take change 100% before they killed him. But, you know, all this killing us, we need to stop them killing us. We need to build a defense where they can't get to us no more. And if they get one, there's gonna be another one to replace them. Like, too much times it's just one person, and when they get to that one person, it's finished. No, there's gonna be another one after, and you kill. There's gonna be another one after that, and it's non-stop. You're never gonna be able to stop this now. You just gonna have to accept that your hold on us, you have it no more. Your control over us, you have it no more. That's the reality of where we need to be going with this today, brothers and sisters. You know, Garvey is the greatest example, as I'm saying. He's the greatest gift to our race. He gave us the black print for us to build. We know the know-how now. We've seen what we can do when we're organized. We've seen the amount of initiatives Garvey had. Do you know what I'm saying? The programs that Garvey had for our people. We've seen how, you know, Garveyism liberated Africa in the 1940s and 50s to some degree. And we're going to see it happen again. Because it's the only thing that works. It's the only thing that includes all of our people. It will bond us together like a glue, like a super glue. It will keep us together. And it will keep us on a righteous path. Because there's a moral fiber to this also. There's rules and regulations to this also. You can't be doing certain things and say you're Garvey. No, brothers and sisters. You have to be an example for our people. So that people can see you and say, wow, that sister there, you know, she's a strong sister. She's a genuine sister. Do you know what I'm saying? That brother there, he's a good brother, man. He's a genuine brother. Do you understand? That's the stages that we need to get to, where our brothers see us as someone that can help them rather than somebody that can destroy them. So, you know, we're getting to towards the end, and you know what? Yeah, since nobody, or not even nobody, since the StreamYard is not allowing nobody to join the panel, unfortunately. You know, this is why we need to create our own networks and our own systems where we can do our own thing, so we don't have to deal with these kind of technical deficiencies. Do you know what I'm saying? They heard too much power today on their stream, so they said, you know what, we got to shut him down. We got to shut him down. But I'm gonna play. I'm gonna end off with a video, a speech I did just last week, and I think that would be a good ending. Do you know what I mean? To the day. You know, I'm gonna end it with that. You know, because we started late, so I want to thank everybody that joined the panel. Not even the panel, that joined the video, watched it, took time out of their day or evening to listen to the words of Garvey, that was patient enough with us with some of the difficulties. You know, I want to thank everybody that joined. Hopefully next time we can figure out these technical difficulties that we've had. But I'm gonna play this video, and I'm gonna end it there, brothers and sisters. I will open up. I will try and unmute somebody just after this to see if it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? If anybody, I got my brother Black Ice TV in the building. Yo, big up my brother. You know, our brothers out there living a good life. Peace to you, my brother. But yeah, I'm gonna play this this video, and then I'll get back to you afterwards. Let me just fix this right here. Here we go, brother.
We are now going to get a presentation by Brother Malak, who is my brother. A very special member. All right, Elder, enough now. A very special person in our community. I can't remember how long we've known each other for. Years. Decades.
Still young.
No, we're getting on now. What can I say about beloved Minister Malak? First and foremost, probably one of the most prolific, powerful speakers in our community. Interested in their children. What's the other one? Oh, they didn't have an example of a father, so therefore they can't do it. You know, Malak is dedicated to his family. You know, a lot of our brothers talk about the beauty of the black woman, how melanated she is, how kinky her hair is, and you look beside her or beside him, and there is somebody who's not resembling what you're talking about, brother. You know, I remember, you know, some spoken word artists in our community talking all of those black woman lyrics. And that woman that he presented and brought to that event, I think her great grandmother is black. That's to kind of give you an indication of how there is no blackness in there, but you're begging it so bad that her great grandmother was black. When you see this man here, he has a black woman, black in every sense of the word. He has black children. And this is important because we can't be talking black and sleeping with these people. We can't. You know, and it's very disingenuous when we're kind of and disheartening, absolutely, to see our men letting us down in that fashion. If you're a black man, get with a black woman. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And that's what Malak represents. Malak had an organisation called African World Federation. Malak is now UNIA ACL rep of the UK. And more importantly, of everything that I have said in terms of his accolades, Malak is a good person. Malak is a genuine person. Malak does things that we don't even know or see or hear about. But perhaps years later, months later, we hear the outcome. And that's who he is. A stalwart within our community, a strong black man. And I emphasize the words black man because we know how they're trying to get shaky with this man business now. So, you know, a man now can become a woman can now become a man. And one thing about Malak, he's uncompromising. And that's what we need. We need examples like that, not in theory, but in practice. Yeah, you don't see Malak with his trousers down. Yeah? You don't see Malak acting a certain way because he knows who he is and behaves accordingly. And that's what we need. That's what we want as women and as men in our community. So without further ado, I want to rise up Minister Malak to the stage. Rise him up.
Marcus Garvey lives. Marcus Garvey lives. And before, you know, I didn't have the time to really, because I didn't really want to talk. I'm just having enough of talking, to be honest with you guys. But I just want to hear it up there with the Minka. I really want people to acknowledge this great man in our community. And for those that don't know, he was the first man to ever put me on a panel to speak. I didn't even do speaking before that. I just met Sister Afria one time and we were talking. I said, yeah, I'm Garvey's grandson. And she's gone and told her father, and her father said, yeah, bring him come. We'll give him a chance. And he hasn't left me since. He's probably the only elder in our community that's ever given me a platform to speak. I don't know why they don't give me a platform. Maybe I do know why they don't give me a platform. And that's kind of what I come to talk about today. I kind of took some notes, so forgive me if I'm having to look at my phone every now and then. But I come here today to tell you that being uncompromising is to be awake. When you speak the truth and you compromise the truth, you're taking the soul out of the truth that you're speaking. And when we're speaking the truth, we cannot speak truth to the level where you are, brothers and sisters. No, we speak the truth and raise up our brothers and sisters to the standard of the truth. So when you mix up the truth and you water down the truth, your truth is dead. And this is why we're not awakened people at the moment, because we're not dealing with the truth. We want to deal with feelings and making the people feel good. Yeah. But I come to tell you today, unfortunately, that we ain't got nothing to feel good about. The children are dying, the women are crying, and the man is hurt. So we need to do something constructive to bring about this change. So that's what a revolution is. A revolution is a complete constructive change. That's what revolution means. Some of you hear that word and think it's to go out there and kill somebody. If anybody's going to be killed, it's going to be that European in you guys' minds. Maybe not you guys in here, but in the minds of our people. That's what we need to be doing in this time. And we don't face injustice because we're black. Some people are like, what? We face injustice because they're white. You understand what I'm saying to you? It's because of who they are why we face what we are. You understand what I'm saying to you? So this is what I kind of want you guys to understand. Now, they say the truth shall set you free. I'm sure everybody's heard that before. The truth shall set you free. So why are we not free yet? Because we're not in the truth. And some people will say, well, what is the truth? Everybody has their truth. Not everybody has their opinions. And some people may have some facts. But I come to tell you that facts and truth is two different things. Because it could be a fact that black people have treated you bad in your life. That could be a fact that most of the tribulation that you faced in your life comes from a black person. But the truth, that is not the truth of who your enemy is. That's right. I want you to understand that. Because a lot of the time we find ourselves fighting amongst each other. And a lot of the time our people are the problem. But they're not the problem. And when I say the, that is the definition of something. So when I say somebody is the devil, I want you to understand who I'm talking about here right now, brothers and sisters. So to be conscious is to be aware, to be fully functioning, to be awake. When you're asleep, you're not functioning fully. You're not rising to your full potential when you're asleep. Some people is walking, sleeping people. You see, they're walking, but they're sleeping. Dribble all come down their mouths. When you hear some things that they say, you can tell that they're sleeping. Marcus Garvey, over 100 years ago, told us what to do. And I'm not really into the hero worshipping. I like to put Marcus Garvey on the same level of us. Because what I try to tell people is what he done, we can do. If you see him as something higher than yourself, you can't relate to it because you think he's just the greatest, he's just a giant. We are all giants in here, brothers and sisters. Marcus Garvey gave us the blueprint or the blackprint to be giants. If you know my story and where I come from in life, and you see the man I am today, you would never believe that this is the same person. My mother left me when I was 5 years old. This is not things I come to tell people, you know. Because I don't really want sympathy from nobody. Because I don't want people to start treating me different because they hear my sad story. But most people got a sad story. Why have we all got sad stories? Because we're not on the truth. Because the truth shall set you free. The truth shall give you wings. And with wings, you fly, brothers and sisters. And we need to be flying. So, Marcus Garvey, for those that don't know, was an African nationalist. At the time, there was no Pan-African. Them things came later. And we didn't deal with Pan-African. In fact, Pan-African was used against Marcus Garvey at one stage. Until in the 1940s, when our African brothers and sisters on the continent took up this teaching, and they brought the UNIA flag into the Pan-African Conference. They now adapted to the Pan-African, the UNIA ways and incorporated Garveyism in the thing. Garveyism is the only solution for us, brothers and sisters. It's the only thing that's worked. And it's the only thing that included all black people around the world. We didn't separate. Like I came on the 10th of June in here, I spoke and I hear somebody talking about fight religion and this. I said, you know what, I'm with the revolutionary Christians. I'm with the black atheists. I'm with the brothers with the bow ties, and I'm with the brothers with the semis. That's what I said. I'm with all of my people. I love all of my people because my teacher taught me to love black people more than they hate themselves. And that you're going to need a lot of love, brothers and sisters, if you want to take up that. You're going to need a lot of love. So, you know, I don't want to take up too much of the time. I know that I got 10 minutes. So I'm trying to keep to the 10 minutes time, but we must organize. We have to organize. And the Elder Minka is the greatest man to bring us together today because he's been in the community. He's with, if you look around, all different organizations are in this room, all because of this man. This man, when something happened to me the other day, I'm not going to go into details, but I went there and I was prepared to go to prison that day. I got children at home. And I don't think the smartest thing to do. But you can't touch an elder like that in our community and get away with it. That's unacceptable. Because even the gang members, yeah, they defend each other. So how come we don't defend our people? Why are we not defending our people? If we say we're Pan-Africans or Garveyites or whatever, why are we not united? Why are we separating ourselves from ourselves? A lot of the time, yeah, we focus on the negative things in our people or our brothers and our sisters. We've all got negative things. But how about we switch it and focus on the positive side of them? Because everybody's got a positive side too. So why are we focused on the negative side of our brothers and sisters? Or he worships that. I don't care what you worship. I don't care. You're a black person, we must do better. That's no good, black man. And that's no good, black woman. It's not good to separate ourselves from ourselves. And some of us are elders as well and separate themselves from their children. The hardest thing, every time I come out, I say this, and I have to. The hardest thing I ever had to do in my life was keep my family together. It's the hardest thing. Because there's so much things in place to separate me from my woman. They got so much things to divide us to trick her into watching different Pop the Balloon show they got now. I know some of you don't know about this, but this is what's going on. So much TV shows that they got on the YouTube and the TV to distract our people and to separate ourselves from ourselves. So that's not a good black man and that's not a good black woman. We must do better. So I'm wrapping up. I'm just gonna make you know that Garvey was great. You are great too. And I will leave this question, or not this statement, with you to think about. Now, some people may say that it was the wicked slave master that was bad. And I agree, he was wicked and he was bad. But if it was just him, then why are we still in the same position today? His children have continued to oppress us. So some people don't want to talk about race. Fine. Don't talk about it then. We don't need everybody. My grandmother taught me one-on-one Coca-Cola basket. So we need, even in the UK, if we had 500 people, just 500 people in the UK to commit to something, we could get a building, we could get a school, we could get anything that we want. We don't need a lot of people. We don't need only for numbers. We just need serious people committed to whatever they say that we're going to commit to. So I leave you on that one, brothers and sisters, yeah? One God, one aim, one destiny.
Yes, my family. I'm gonna leave you with that word sound. You know, I hope everybody enjoyed, you know, the live stream. If anybody wants to get involved, you know, wants to be a part of the Great 500, as what I'm calling it now, you know, contact us. You know, the Instagram is there. For those that's not following us on Instagram, the Instagram is there. You can message me. But ultimately, brothers and sisters, we have to do better. We have to continue to do the work to uplift our people. That is the motto of what I'm trying to say. That is the theme. You know, we're gonna have to organize or we're gonna perish. You know, Garvey said, organize or you gonna die. And you can see that we're dying. And I was trying to start saving some lives out here, brothers and sisters. So now we're seeking members. So anybody that wants to join the great fraternity, you know, please contact us. And I want to thank everybody that came onto the live stream, watched. You know, please like and subscribe and all that other good stuff. Thank you very much, my brothers and sisters. I'll leave you with our motto: one God, one aim, one destiny.